Maybe I'll try to help you.
Yo, what's going on? Blaxican, NPC the game, Gabriel. Carbo here. Happy Sunday, fun day, Saturday night live for y'all in the wilderness of North America. Good to see you. Uh, what's up, crazy mama? There's a comment already out the glass. Ben, remember, listen to your pops. Absolutely, Ben. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah. Shout out to Ben, who's been going through it, but's been a fucking hitting all his challenges and healing up and getting strong. Much love. Whoa, what's up, Shadow Buddha in the house, bitch, bruh. OTW's the first. The first will be the last. The last will be the first. Vengeful Truther, what's up, my nigga? How's it going, bruh? Good to see you, bro. Brody in the house, bruh. Young old. Thank you. Yeah, that thumbnail is a trip, man. It's the trip. Saturn Moon Matrix chamber right there. The Kabbalah over there in Mecca, um, home of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his people. What's going on to me? Um, what's going on to me and my wife? Shout out to Miss NPC. Good to good to good to be here. Really. Shout out to Mel Pandora in the cuts. Much love. I got your back always. What's going on to yeah, shit, man. Fuck reality. Who or what creates your reality? So much chaos going on right now, huh? Godheart Guardian, one of the most conscious people up in the chat. You got some balls to show up here and stream after all that shit you said last stream, right? Yeah, man. I mean, let him hang, man. Let him hang. What I said last week was like, just for a recap for y'all went there. You all are shit that linger in the panel verse, and I probably the prince, the prince of shit by spending probably some of the most time in there lurking around, and you're better than that, fellas and ladies. You know, I get it. We all like entertainment and escapism, but let's try for some better um shit. Because I mean, look at shout out to Ben. These guys and girls, little guy ones are inheriting the world. The best we can do is set the table for them. But how are we going to do it when we have our head up our cooler? And yeah, I want to cut the ties from the Poundverse, and I sub to a lot of people last time because it, what they're promoting in terms of trying to grab my attention on some stuff that really doesn't jive with self actualizing. It doesn't jive for me anyway. And no disrespect, y'all are shit. However, I love you. In the terms of it's not my bag right now at the moment. All that shit. So that's what it was. A big dramatic breakup. But I wasn't gonna go anywhere. I was still gonna have this channel. It's for you guys and Ben to see the documentation of what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, all those lurker shoes. With the comment, crazy mamas, you ain't holding me accountable for letting my nuts hang or holding the wrong nuts. It is a nuts. It's a crazy world out there. Yeah, we cling to this existence like it's the only thing out there, and it's real enough. It's real enough. This world is it's chaos. We live in a somewhat chaos realm right now, with order trying to take hold of it. We try to control things, but who is the we or the I that's literally trying to control things? And the more I think about these questions, the more I get in a peaceful bliss of ignorance. And ignorance means I'm nice. That's the archaic meaning of ignorance. This is what is building this reality, chaotic ignorance. This feeling of chaos, or the world as you call it, is a time of constant ups and downs, of constant complexities, huh? You can feel it. You can feel it's like a gripping pit sometimes. Chaos isn't necessarily a gripping pit though that's waiting to swallow us all. It's actually a ladder when you look at it in the right way. And many men and women have tried to climb it, but they failed and they never get up to try again and again. Well, what I'm trying to say is, when I say y'all deserve better, is because we are people trying to climb this ladder, and a lot of times we're doing it as crabs in the bucket is the best metaphor, the one that y'all know of the most. Um, because there are unfair advantages out there that the so-called elites are using in order to take away your attention and make you distracted from what's really going on, which is this beautiful dance of consciousness that's happening all the time. Um, but you can take a hold of those unfair advantages yourself in order to build your tribe of excellence, while the so-called elites build their cults and cultures of death. You can bring your culture, you can breed and cultivate your culture of life and light. And even that, and if you're one of the real ones, you can elevate your status to the top of the so-called pyramid and and rule in a righteous, benevolent manner. Because, like I said, we're living in the most chaotic times in modern history, and because it's so chaotic, it also presents you all and myself and you, Ben, especially, the biggest opportunity to make a fortune, right? Money, 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 hardcore core currency, cash, but also spiritual wealth as well. The real fortune, the one that you can take with you if you believe in that stuff. Because every single fortune happens during upheavals, during chaos, and this is your opportunity to create that generational spiritual wealth and physical wealth that never can happen in a time of peace. Because normally the fall breaks them. It fucks them up when they're climbing that ladder of chaos, and they don't have the mindset to be a king and a queen of their Cartesian reality, influencer of your reality. And some of us are literally given the chance to climb up, but because of the choices we make and opportunities we turn down, we don't accept this, and you literally refuse your greatness. And it's kind of like that. All these religious guys who refuse to get saved unless God comes to them in person in order to save them. Many people refuse to develop. They refuse to claim their greatness, Ben and y'all. But that's fine. You need to do what works for you. Like the Jesuit Thomas Aquinas said, I think it was, by showing yourself as the God who's trying to save them meaning your tribe, you're showing them that you will not accept them drowning, and then you need them to literally pull themselves up. So imagine that drowning in this chaos is literally your opportunity for salvation and self transformation. But like I said earlier, many are given the chance to climb, but they refuse. Many are called, but few are chosen. They need a blueprint, and I think the best blueprint right now is to step back and think about what's really going on. It's like, duh, of course, but do you really do that? Are you really checking out what's really going on? What's your reality made up of? There's many different things out there, like crazy conspiracies and um, detailed cerebral blueprints of the dimensions and the makeup of the reality that we're experiencing. And then there's matter of fact, pragmatic explanations of what's going on here and now. But either way we see it, not too many people that I have experienced in the panel verse, and especially in the all of the above sector, are really passionate or even really interested in these questions. Or if they are, they don't know how to express it, or they don't feel like there's a comfortable place to discuss it. Well, here I am. Here we are at this time and place. What's up, Leopard Print? Good to see you. Tom Platt said it as the Shadow Buddha said, I don't believe in luck. Luck comes to a man of action. Right. Action. And this is what's happening right now. The way I'm seeing it is we're not so much nouns as the I or human or action, the action figure, but we're more like we're like a verb, the ing, constantly rendering our reality as it goes along, and constant motion and flex. It has to be like that, because the moment we started this broadcast, listening to our Aaron Hall, and then UB40, and then Tommy Richmond, Devil May Lie, we've changed completely in a lot of ways. We're not the same person, or not the same. We're not even the same verb. Listening, because we're all listening. That's what we are right now. We think we are. We're actually listening. It sounds weird, but the more you wrap your head around this, the more these things will become clear. It's literally coming clear right now. So what's up, everybody? My dad, vengeful truth, my dad always told me never think you deserve anything. Work hard, go for it. You're a smart man, your dad. Crazy mama. Ignorance is lack of intelligence. That's all I have to say about that, Shadow. Let me see what she say. Look at you. She said, "What the hell happened? What happened?" I had to go. Quick recap. Let me see. God Garden. Now you're very correct in your awareness. Thank you. I got no confidence. You got no confidence like me. You wanna run around like me. You got no confidence like me. You wanna run around like me and chase me. Devil ain't lie. Okay. Right now. It's supposed to be my background, fool. Damn. Yeah. Where was I? Mager man, what's up, man? Kid's mama says, and I won't judge you for holding the wrong nuts opinion. What's that? What opinion is that? Yeah. Let me know. I want to laugh too. Or if you're being using your great humor as a way to help me see a blind spot, let me know. That's what we're here for. Because I don't know, I said a lot. I was going back on that comment. Yo, what's up, Jeremy? What's going on? Let's see. So yeah. Let me know what did I say? I'm trying to think. I was saying. Well, I wanted to put I was saying there's chaos everywhere. I said, "Oh, what's up to everybody?" Uh, I said, "What's up to Mel?" Maybe you didn't like that. I don't know. What else did I say? Um, said I'm tired of being distracted, basically. Yeah. So I don't know what's nuts about that, but yeah, let me know. Oh, Shadow Buddha in the house, bitch, with a comment. Panelverse drama in the last few days. Okay, I see. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, uh, yeah, drama. Whatever I'm gonna say, it's like a poor excuse. I'll say this. It's an off Broadway presentation of Jerry Springer show or Richard Bay, or one of those shows or something like that. Yeah, that's what that is. I mean, or Paris Hilton, that homosexual dude that used to do all the gossip stuff. That's what it reminds me of, or a less or a powder puff version of DJ Academics when he did his war in Chirac, when he was literally gossiping about the wars going on of the young men killing each other in Chirac, black men that were killing each other, gossiping about that, and that something that he wasn't even involved in. So yeah, distractions, man, distractions. White bread, not too much nutrition. Don't even taste good. Crazy Mom was a comment. She said, "I think he said something about holding nut sacks." Nah, man, I don't care who likes it. You should know better. Okay, good to see you. Thanks for your clarification. Um, yeah, holding the nut sacks, huh? What's up, Joe Cool? Good to see you. Yeah. So reality, what creates your reality? Who do you worship? Is your reality? What do you worship? What makes up your reality? I started from the like one of the craziest things about reality that I heard so far, and I don't necessarily believe this. I've done a broadcast about the Saturn Moon Matrix. How real quick that what might be going on is that there's now you have to walk with me for this one. There's could be a simulation going on right now. I know a lot of you have heard that before. Basically, we're living in some type of like video game, the realest video game ever, and the Buddhists and call it Maya, the Hindus refer to it. The movie The Matrix refer to this. How this is you're in a first person reality, virtual reality game right now as the avatar, another Hindu Vedic word. As the avatar you're presenting right now, as you call yourself, as you call your, I'll call it your action figure. You call it the I, me, the Jeremy, Gabriel. You know, we we're in a video game, the best one ever, and we're wearing a virtual headset that stays with you for the rest of your life, that you call your brain, and your mind is being is the player of this game that's off world on, let's say, Saturn, right? Which is the mind, which is the server that's rendering this video game, because every video game network online needs a server to power it, to compute and process all the images, all the audio. And then maybe the moon is there as it's called the Saturn moon matrix. The moon is there as to render the feelings of us here on Earth, and it reflects it back onto Earth, where the game field is, the sandbox reality is. So Saturn, the old god, Set, as they used to call it, the Egyptian, is rendering this reality. That's the server, right? Because there's so many different things that are represented with the Saturn cube, in reference to the Saturn cube. Like I have on this beautiful avatar, I have Mecca, the cube, right there. So yeah, that's that. So let's start for what's reality. Some of these far out theories that maybe you'll find some truth in, or you can disagree with or agree with. Let's see.
It's the 24th of May, and I just finished a mission, which was a really, really big one. The first time one of our teams attempted this, we failed. The second time, it looks like we've succeeded. And what have we done?
What's up, Joker?
Now, who has heard of the Saturn moon matrix? Anyone know what I'm talking about? Well, look, first things first, if everything that I'm going to talk about appears in this video, and it's a long lecture about why Earth is such a weird place and what's going on here. It actually describes the source of all evil, which is not a small thing, you know. And it's not Satan or Lucifer.
He said it describes the whole why the world is so evil. And some people might say that chaos I'm referring to. He said he might even talk about Satan, Saturn.
Either, like, everybody seems to think that they're at the top of the food chain, but they're not. And so this video here describes that. Now, black cube technology is a really key technology for our enemy. You see, black cubes are something that they're able to punch through the space-time continuum. You know, they break through the space-time continuum from their universe, from their mirror world, from their inverted universe. They punch through, and the thing that they use as a gateway is a black cube. Now, they've installed one on Saturn, they've installed one inside the moon, and they're using that energy to force the creation of one on Earth. And
what up, yo? I can't hear you. Is it my shit? All right, I can't hear you.
Oh, that's me. What's up, Joe? How's it going?
What's going on?
I see you, brother. Yeah. I was about to just read your comment. I like that. You said, sounds like he's about to lie.
I just sound like he's about to sell me something.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm listening. I'm listening.
I know you would. Well, I'm glad you said that, because it's like, it's going to have to be a really good sell, skillful sell, because it sounds very strange. Yeah.
I'm glad you saw the same thing.
Yeah. But I like it, though. It's a good narrative.
Yeah, he had said something about the black cube.
I
missed when I was coming up here. I don't know what the black cube is yet. He was
the black cube of Saturn.
Okay.
You know, if you look at the top of Saturn, that's like a black cube.
Yeah,
like
it's not a cube.
Yeah.
I think it's a 5-sided pentagon or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories that Saturn, a lot of cults over the years of people who try to control the world. They they worship that in different forms, that cube.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's why you get Saturn, Satan. You know, people
Uh,
try to put that together, and they'll have the cube right here in Mecca, the Kabbalah, the Kabbalah. You know,
uh,
there's a lot of different interesting takes on it. So I'm my whole question today is, what do you worship? What reality do you worship? What creates your reality? And I wanted to start out with one of the most outlandish things I've heard that
all
creates
right.
reality, and then go from there to maybe more to what I,
All
where
right.
I'm at right now, and then
I'm,
and then ask other people like, what do you think
I'm down. Let's do
makes
it.
up reality? What do you think, Joe? Real
I'm
quick, not
down.
real
Let's
quick, but
Yeah, but let's watch what you and I'm down because I got my opinions too. So let's do
okay,
what
let's
you
go.
want to do first. Yeah.
Using the power of the planets or celestial powers to create a control matrix here. Now, these black cubes specifically built to frame ideas in human minds. They're specifically built to project bunk concepts into human beings, and they're really good at it. Like this is technology that they've perfected over a long
Now,
time.
Joe, does it grind your gears ever, or do you don't even trip when you hear people say "they" all the time when we're talking about? I guess they're referring to like so-called elites or
I got to be
social
honest with
engineers.
you. Depends on the person. If I'm talking to people I know, like I don't know you or
Yeah.
Brave or something, I know what you guys mean by they because we've
Mm-hmm.
discussed that. But normally
Mm-hmm.
when I hear they, yes, my ears stand up on end, and I get worried. I worry about that us versus them mentality. People who
Mm-hmm.
believe in politics, left versus right, right versus black, white, whatever. They will use the they, and I can get nervous, but you
Yeah.
give motherfucker benefit of a doubt. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah. It does a little bit, especially if they use it a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, they use it a lot. Look at me, even talking. Now, let's be honest. I'll keep it 100. Even me talking right now, I'm saying they use it a lot. Now, I don't want to
yeah.
be like a word Nazi and like be one of those people
All
that
right.
like I can't say hello because it needs held down low or good morning because I'm telling you that
Yeah, right.
But with that said, those people who are very passionate about conspiracy, maybe overly passionate,
Yeah,
like if they tend to use that word a lot, I want to ask, I want to put the brakes on for a second
yes.
and say, hold on
I
now, what are we talking
100%. I
about?
don't want to be the Nazi dude, but yes, sometimes I want to know. All right.
I want to know what you're talking about. Yeah, because in the end, I'll just fast forward. I think in the end, it's comes back to what we think is us, is what we what the other is, or the enemy, the ops, as y'all taught us in Chicago how to say, the ops.
What?
And it's just
Wait. I'm not sure I'm with you. You say what I think is us
so
are
what we
the
think is
enemy.
us. Yes, like you've heard that you're your worst enemy or your worst ally,
Yeah, I
that
agree.
type of thing.
Yeah.
It's because it's like I hit the like kind of like the bottom of the rabbit hole, or at least a ledge of the rabbit hole,
Yeah.
where gone all these conspiracy theories to a point where I think that some this concept of the I that we call ourselves, the
Yeah.
I,
Oh, see
is
it. Oh,
actually
okay.
a false representation of what we think I is, and it gets us in trouble when we over identify with that all the time too
I
much.
I think I hear where you're going. For instance,
Yeah.
I may think Joe is the I, and really,
Yes.
what I am is a lot more than what we think I am.
There you go.
Uh,
Yeah. But then it's very it's kind of, it can be difficult for us to talk about it because it's such it incorporates everything we do and how we look, and I think the best I can do, a lot of us can do, is just point at it instead of actually defining it, because in
yeah,
the end, people want to get enlightened and all that, but what I believe is that we're already there.
of
It's just a
course.
matter of everyone's good. It's just a matter of what does it look like? What does that look like to you? So
I think I
I just,
understand what you're saying.
yeah,
You talk
it's
a
some weird
little
shit,
bit,
bro.
if I'd have been here more with you, I think we'd be 100%. I think I
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
in all the
Hey,
concepts, and I think I understand what you're saying.
yeah. I could, I need to convince myself. That's probably why it's kind of
Yes.
scattered a little bit, but
I understand that too. A lot of times when I'm talking, I'm really just throwing the shit around in my head out loud, which is what you're doing, trying to find the proper
Yeah.
verbiage and shit like that for later. I get
yeah.
it.
Oh, since you're here too, because Joe Cool the Legend, you know, Paneler of the Year, NPC Awards 2024. I yeah, I think this is what the last couple of days with all this Panelverse drama
Yeah.
with Resto and Mel and Izzy and all that stuff. It's like it's a manifestation of things that have come to a head, and it's like we want to attack everyone and stuff when in fact it's like, bro, we have so much on our plate right now. It's like it's goofy. It's goofy to constantly go over this shit. And I get it. It's fun because for me, like ragging on somebody else takes the attention away from the blind spots and the shitty things I don't like about myself.
Right.
You know?
That's what the main purpose is, right? Excuse me. The main purpose of these people who go live every day and just shit on people all day, it's because you don't know how to do anything positive for real. Whatever that is, feeding the homeless, insert positive action here. It's easy to make yourself feel like you've done something good by jumping on someone else by comparison. I'm better than this person. And it makes you feel like you did a positive thing without actually doing anything. I think that's 90% of it. And shit,
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and you had something else I wanted to jump on when you first started talking, but I'm literally smoking as we're talking. So if it come back to me, great.
It'll come back. Maybe this guy will jargon it. We'll wrangle it up again.
Check my man.
On many planets, it's a big problem. It's been very, very easy for them to install one on Saturn, and another one that they've installed inside the moon. And we think that they parked the moon here, that the moon is not originally built into Earth orbit. We think it's brought here somehow.
Wow, like a Winnebago, Joe. I know you travel a lot. You see a lot of big rigs.
I'd love to have one myself. I love those shits. But does that make sense, NPC? And you're good, you know, because you're the right person to talk to us about. Yeah. If I'm playing GTA, and I'm comparing us to the GTA video game right now, and I have a server that controls everything. It is not part of the game itself. It is not some moon in the sky in the game. It is outside of the game. So I'm not sure how logical what he is saying is, unless it's
true. That's true, because there would be like a little, or at least a representation of it in the game.
Yes, like but it wouldn't be the actual so and so, right?
No, I wouldn't think so. Think so. That's a good point, Joe. Fuck, I never thought about that. And I've heard this theory a lot. I'm glad you came up here.
Right.
Yeah. Ashima has they're talking about the cult of Saturn in the chat. Oh God, the cult of Saturnia. I think the Russians, that's what Christmas came from. Not Russians, the Romans. They had their Saturnia festival. It was like a debauchery festival, basically. You know,
I don't know, but I get it though. Yeah. I've never heard of it, but it's interesting.
And then then he's talking about they're talking about the death cult of Saturn. Saturn ate his children, and the legend because of the envy of them. It's Saturn's cult, and most people are in it unknowingly. Wow.
Thank you.
This is a good one from Ashima Alexander. She said, I heard that Travis Scott concert where people died in Houston was some sort of homage to Saturn, though I don't get it. Yeah, that was
crushed there.
Yeah, they got crushed to death. Yeah, that was an Astro World, which is his concert, his concert festival, and the people just rushed the stage and crushed each other. Yeah. People were saying that they were on people were giving them drugs that were bad drugs, and they were they're in seizures and having heart attacks, and it was wild, bro. And then you get Travis Scott on this crane overlooking the crowd, singing his song while they're fucking dying right below him. It's it's bad. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
I'm assuming though that's happened at a lot of concerts.
I think you're right.
Everything. This is just the truth in today's day and age. Everybody has a bit of a conspiratorial mind, but they're not really responsible. Like I like to think I am. So as soon as they see a thing, I'm trying to come up with some of the crazy conspiracy. If they fucking see a crack form in a road, their first thought is it was a sound wave from the lizard people underground. The attack's about to be, and I may think, well, it's a shifting because the weather has been rainy or something like that, and they will propagate that, and somebody is going to believe it, going to follow that, not knowing that the nigga who started it was just irresponsible as fuck, just came over some shit off the top of his head. And then it'll be repeated to me later on. I'll be like, so what makes you think that? People say, they say. And that's when you're like, who the fuck is they? Who was they niggas again?
That's why they live.
Yes.
Even the shit. Nah, but Joe, like that whole thing, what you just shared it sums it up. Because I mean, I love the spirit of the conspiratorial mind that they want to really figure out what's really going on. That's my mantra, what's really going on. Yet they latch on to everything. You said, the first thing they hear, it's like, come on, bro. It's like that thirsty dude that like, there'll be this one like basic woman walk by and, oh my God. And then the next one walks by.
Now he gonna lose his mind. He got a little bit of notice from some fat chick, and now suddenly he's just latching. Oh, she liked me. I can see the way she looked at me. Bro, she's not even looking at you. No, I can tell she want me. You become that dude.
And then those conspiracies that's why it's hard to talk to them. It's like, it's like in my mind, I think I'm gonna be like, I'll give you 2, maybe 3 conspiracies that you could be passionate about when you talk to me. But y'all, you are agreeing to every single one of this? No, man, I can't waste my time there.
Yes, and if a person's not willing to debate why they believe a thing, like for instance, I believe that chemtrail shit, solid argument. I can go on forever about that shit. When a motherfuckers like you're saying just has all these random fucking beliefs or anything conspiratorial, and you be like, why do you think that? I don't know, the solar system has an effect on your mood. Why do you think that? And they don't have a reason for it, or why would you think aliens could? It just seems like it when they talk like that. No, you can't push them on it and shit, and you can't respect them when everything that comes down the pipe they believe.
Everything's what they call it, a theater shooting, or like like there's actors and stuff. It degrades the real ones that happen.
And I'm sure that's on purpose. If I was the government, I'd had clowns out there degrading the shit out of the real shit. I'd pay niggas, the lunatics, to go on the internet.
There's the whole thing called, what's it called, like hyper reality. You can't believe. It's hard to believe what's real and what's real. This is why like the theory of the way of being, of concentrating in what's in your immediate circle, it kind of saves you from a lot of the bullshit and makes you run efficiently, Then like
no, I haven't thought of that. I don't want to gloss over it too quick. You say concentrating on those in the immediate circle, and you just
your immediate circle, your circle of influence. Now yours would probably be kind of large because you travel. I'm assuming, excuse me, but like because you travel all over the place.
Yes, I would assume what our effects are unknown to us. You don't really have a super effect on the person you're talking to. You have some, but and you're aware of the little shit. If you know a person, you know how much you can move them around. But I believe the big effects are unknown because these will be the ripples that are seen outside of us. It's me repeating what I saw on NPC, telling the story to flow, blah, 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 blah. So if you just concentrate on those around you, you are not able to affect the fucking ripples. I believe concentrating on the ripples. I want the big effect. So if I'm concentrating on the ones around me, it's to put the big ripples out there in the big world. I'm not just concerned about flow. Flow needs to be delivering the proper message. When I'm not around, I need to sharpen him so he puts those ripples out to everybody else. That's that type of shit.
Right. It's like, all it takes is like, I was talking to Joel Cool yesterday. He shared this. It's like, oh wow.
Yes, I wasn't even,
I wasn't even.
And now I'm not just concentrating on my guys. I have the whole picture in mind, even while I'm talking to my guys. I mean, those around me, as you put it.
This is why it's great when people come up, but we got to stay on topic.
And me and you can do that together, but the more motherfuckers come up, you know how that shit gets.
And the only thing I guess is to do it is be a sergeant of arms, meaning like put the hammer down.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
people
not
don't like it. They
difficult.
don't
I
like
wouldn't
it.
regret it. In fact, I'd make examples out of motherfuckers. And I wouldn't regret it. But yeah, I think that would be
Yeah.
the successful shit. NBC News ain't gonna let some dude in the third row come up and run the show because they're being
Nah,
nice. No, OT
nah, man.
Dub, what's up, baby?
What's
And
up,
like
man?
like like
You got it.
OTW, what's up, man? This is someone that knows how to play, as we say, and can have some far out look at some far out ideas, but still not get ahead of himself and like be like a lunatic or something.
I understand where you're going,
You
and
know what I
I'm
mean?
looking forward to seeing
Yeah,
that right
because
now.
they're all like out of this world theories, right? It's like it's nothing
Out of this world.
that's been yeah, man. That's exactly who I am. So I have to at least stay authentic to my weirdo part of myself, I guess.
Do you truly entertain? Because you when you said whatever, do you truly entertain these theories? It's not. You're not just saying you just do it because it's part of your personality.
No. I actually entertain these theories.
Okay,
Yeah. Of course, I come up with them for I must entertain them, right?
all right. I don't know if
Yeah.
you come up with them. I don't know. I'm trying to find out right now. May be the perfect time for me to get to know you. Every time I see you somewhere, it's 8 motherfuckers jumping on you, calling you names, or you're in Paul's shit where I won't watch. Where's your shit? But
Dude, I've been
won't
having
watch.
like awesome broadcasts in the past 2 weeks, dude. I haven't.
I know just by hearing your name so fucking much. Everybody's been complimenting you.
Oh
I know
yeah,
you've
I
been
know,
doing well.
man. It's like my name's being it's great though. It's a great feeling. It's like all of a sudden I'm becoming popular. Oh my
Very
god!
good.
After
Oh.
3 years of doing this shit, man.
Yeah. This is how it is. I think I'm gonna be popular in my 50s. I got a couple more years.
Yeah, I'm not there yet, man. So do I.
Yeah.
I have a few years left.
Yeah. We're the same, remember? We're on the year of the snake. So yeah, we going to walk this together on this shit. Here's the thing too. I'm glad you brought up the point. This is a good space. I'll toot my own horn. NBC the Game Live for people to come up and like, get your ideas off. However, it ain't gonna be like a Royal Rumble talk fest, shit fest, because either me or one of the other brothers and sisters gonna say, but especially me, I'll say something. I'm like, I wish a motherfucker would. I'm ready, man. I'm ready to.
I
ready
only
to
do
say
that
something.
shit if I want the guy whose room it is. I want to be authentic to him. But if I see that you are of the same mind, like if I'm thinking, oh, this nigga's just distraction, but it's not my room. But if I
Yeah.
see you or whoever room it is, give him shit, and I feel liberated, then I'll give my opinion and jump on the motherfucker. God damn, Joe, you see, we've talked about something, but not until I get the okay in my head from the room.
The head nod. The head nod, basically.
Yeah.
So here we go. Thank you. Here we go with the Saturn Moon Matrix. More of that.
But like the physics of that is
What's up? Look within. Good to see you.
Unfathomable. for
Shout out
us.
to Look Within.
But there are reasons why we think that, and we'll get to them in a second. Now, using the celestial powers of Saturn, and Saturn is about, you'll love this one, finance, law, and power.
Yeah, that's astrology. That's the symbol what it represents, and tradition and old school things and obstacles.
And so,
Which
that's the
all those things
masculine-
you mentioned are obstacles in a sense for a lot of us. Finance, law, and power.
He said law. I thought he said lore. He said law.
He said law,
Finance,
LAW.
law, power. Okay, yeah. That's
This is
all
why the
evil.
police wear black. A lot of us think because it's a Saturn cult. I mean, maybe back, it resonates with Saturn, the black, because black is the most powerful color. The judge wears black. That's a Saturn. Some people think that's a Saturn reference.
Side of the story, and that, like, finance, law, and power are just critical to controlling a planet. Like,
Yeah.
And so to have
this-
all of the
Hold
finance.
on, pause this.
Yeah.
This whole realm is based on Saturn worshiping.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
That's
the
what
black,
we're saying.
this black cube thing is everywhere. I mean, look at the Xbox. The Xbox is Saturn,
The
right?
Q.
Yeah, it's the Xbox, right? X is also Saturn, right? It's the 24th letter in the alphabet, which is actually 42. When you look it up in gematria, well, Saturn is 42.
Wow.
Right? So it's like, and you got all these like different movies, like the one that they did with the that actor that died that played the Black Panther. Okay, his last movie was, I think, was like that baseball player with the number 42,
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson. There you go. See,
what's 42 was 6, right? What's the 6th planet from the sun? Saturn.
Right, but that's not the only thing. Saturn has the hexagon. So whenever you see a company with a logo and it's in the shape of a hexagon, well, you know that they're Saturn worshippers. It's like when you're looking at Walmart. Who do you think which faction do you think Walmart belongs to?
Saturnian.
No,
I think.
Nope.
What?
No, they're part
What's
of
the other faction?
the Sun faction. They worship the sun.
Oh.
We have different planet worshippers out here. You know, we got the Saturn worshippers. You got the Sun worshippers. You've got the worshippers of Mars, which are actually
Elon Musk.
Are y'all
Yes,
saying
exactly.
these knuckleheads actively and knowingly worship
some of them do.
different
Yes,
so-and-sos?
absolutely. Billionaires, millionaires don't believe in astrology, but billionaires do.
You know it. Yeah.
Fucking right.
That's what's his name said that? JP Morgan. Yeah, that's his quote. And there is something called planetary magic, and these people take it seriously, and they don't spell with the K, magic. When you see that K in the word magic, these are people who like live, breathe it. You know, they wear colors to represent those planets with the planetary magic.
Yeah.
I mean, in a lightweight, people who they talk about their astrology sign, they're in a form of planetary worship too. They're like, I'm a Leo. Oh, as a Leo, you're a sun worshiper then, kind of. Now, maybe I'm stretching it a little bit.
No.
I understand
You're
where
onto
going,
something
but
because
the other guys are just more aware. I understand where you're going.
Yeah, they're more aware. There you go.
some may say that these particular deities or these planets are actually gods.
Yeah.
Right. And once you're, let's say you like in the music industry, if you're writing a song and you're dedicating it to one of those gods, then I guess you attract that god's energy. I guess it has something to do with an exchange of energy.
Let me ask you, Katz. I'll tell you. I think that what it is, it's caveman. You look up initially, not right now. I'm working to something. You look up and you see the dots in the sky, and you call them gods, and you give them certain attributes. You on the one day when the sun and when the moon's really bright, you trip, fall down, and find some gold, and you name that fucker, and it sticks like that. Then people believe in it, and their beliefs could make these things occur. I'm asking, is that what you guys thinking, or do you think these things have real power? I think the only power they have is what you believe.
It's funny you mentioned that because that reminds me of an Amazon series called American Gods. And and the synopsis of it is essentially these gods exist, like they have like new gods that they're born. They also have ancient gods, all depending on the belief system of the humans, and they all exist because humans believe in them.
Interesting.
They manifested out of the belief of the humans, and they actually have all of the same qualities and powers that the humans attribute to them.
Okay, well, now that you mention it,
but wait.
No,
hold on, let me finish.
Going. No, don't finish yet.
Go.
All throughout history, they've always attributed, different gods. The way you was putting it, that's not just now. All throughout history, those gods have had attributes to whatever you were speaking on. But go ahead.
Right, and essentially, some gods are forgotten, and when these gods are forgotten, or no one believes in them anymore, they die.
Yes.
Okay, so it's like, I was saying before, there are new gods that are born. Like in this TV series, there's this new god that's born. It's called the Media God.
Dope.
Right?
And it will come from the new beliefs.
And it comes from the digital era.
Yes.
It was born out of the digital era.
My guy loves this fucking show. He's told me about it. You got to see it. He broke it down like this. I don't fucking watch it. I never watched it because I don't know.
You have to look at it esoterically. You can't just like watch it.
And he's an esoteric.
American Gods.
Yeah, American Gods. Yeah. It's with the guy that plays. It's with the guy that plays in John Wick, who's the one who takes care of the Continental. The
guy from Deadwood, Ian something. Yeah. Yeah. He looks like Keith, like El Perro, kind of.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure if I agree there.
Yeah. Yeah, when he slicks his hair back, he kind of looks like him. Yeah, the American Gods is great because and what happens is the old gods and that it's a book but it became a TV series. They link up because all the people's attention, which is their spiritual wealth, how they get wealth, their energy, the gods get energy from the people's attention. Are being diverted to the new gods, like OTW was saying, like the god of technology, the god of social media, right? So like you get Odin, who Ian plays, Odin, he manifested and he's linking up with like a leprechaun, and they at the
A
the crazy
plethora
part
of gods and a human.
Mars, Ares, the god of Ares, who makes bullets and war and all that shit. Because people are forgetting like the old gods. Like they even have one where they go to a Easter party, a spring party by Ishtar. Right, and they all the gods are there, and it's funny they meet up with Jesus is there, but there's like 7 different Jesuses. There's a black Jesus, a white Jesus, an Asian Jesus. Yeah, there's all these Jesuses, right? And what happens is she made a pact, Ishtar, with to be like more kind of like user friendly, more personable, because what the holiday Easter is basically the worship of Ishtar, the Sumerian goddess, right?
Yeah.
But she's the way she is now, Easter, she's all like happy and sunny and bubbly personality, but then she gets pissed off and this Ishtar comes out of her. Because a lot of these old customs, things that we do, most people don't even know where they come from. Like we're talking about Saturnalia. That's Christmas. But it was an orgy holiday before.
Ishtar is also Isis, which is also Siri. It's all the same name. It's all the same personality. Just like the song, I can't remember the name of the band, but Sweet Madame Blue.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's talking about Ishtar. You know, and it's like
that's Liberty.
Exactly.
Yeah, all that Columbia. But the thing about Saturn is Saturn's relatively new. I would say like in the last 10 years, it's become more sexy topic in the conspiracy realm. This whole Saturn moon matrix, and you see it everywhere. Like right where I'm standing right here, or my wife and I are here. I put the picture right there.
Yeah, they're talking
that's
about
the Saturn cube right there. You see that the Kabbalah, Kabbalah.
Some sort of weird soul recycling system.
Well,
which I don't necessarily.
Well, it's a cube. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, but he said
the cube is in between us. The black cube. You see it there?
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm zooming. I don't see no black cube in between us.
It's a big black square. You see it on the picture.
It's got some green on it.
It's black with some gold trim around it. The black square in the middle of the picture. Do you see that?
I'm just looking at you and oh fuck the
no, not at us. But we're on the thumbnail.
Joe's a little slow, man. Give him a break, you know.
Hey, but you know what?
I never saw it. I was zoomed in on your
listen
shirt.
To this.
I never saw it.
No, but listen to this though. In Joe's quote unquote slowness, he saw a resonance because that shirt I'm wearing, it can be seen as very satanic. It has a pentagram on there.
I
you
saw
see?
the pentagram.
And it has an owl on there. It has an owl on there, which is a symbol of Saturn too.
Yeah, but the pentagram isn't a symbol of Saturn. That's what's funny about it. The pentagram
Venus,
is
right?
I had no idea. Yeah, I was talking about
it's
Cuban Mexico.
It's Baal.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's Saturn.
The pentagram is Baal. It's Baal. It's that other creature.
Okay. Oh yeah, Moloch. That's the
one with the
Travis
ghost.
Right, leopard.
Yeah. No, Baphomet. Yeah. But yeah. Let's get back on this thing before we get.
All right, yeah, let's watch some of this in OTW.
That's funny that leopard and everybody's looking at the T-shirt.
Legal and power.
When you say it's in between us, I was
dude. The overlay's still up though.
I know.
Yeah,
let me get it. I'm beating a boomer right now.
Let
me get it.
Holding control of a planet. And on the feminine side, you have the moon. One of the key things that it puts out there is victimhood. The moon projects victimhood. And so you have
what
control, power, law.
Yeah.
That's his take. The moon
Right,
is
very
victim
good.
of.
Very
Yeah,
good.
it's his take.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, what's your contention? Go ahead. Let's.
No, I don't. I'm just
no.
like,
Let the guy finish.
yeah.
his
Let him
consent.
cook.
Yeah.
Let him
Finance or
cook.
power law and finance with the victim feminine. And those two energies come together to project into Earth, which creates a triangle between Saturn, the moon, and the Earth. And by projecting this distorted energy, it creates an environment where their goals can be met. But, like everything we see that the enemy really values and really likes, we go out there and wreck it because we love smashing that stuff. We absolutely love it. It's like what gets us out of bed in the morning. And it's actually the thing that brings all of our teams together. We're all very, very satisfied with the concept of smashing the dark side stuff. And
That's probably a commonality we all have. You want to get rid of evil, when you say, or
I
at
didn't
least
understand
know.
what he was saying. I didn't understand what he was
It's
saying.
not like he's
Well-
saying like bring us together. Is coming against dark side shit.
Hold on. Let me talk to Joe in his language. This guy essentially is a Ghostbuster, and he's gonna ghost bust some ghosts.
All right.
That's what he's saying.
Huh?
All right. When he get together and bash the
Interest-
dark, I thought he was talking about when the full moon comes out, people would like to break shit and do bad things, until you guys said he's talking about doing good shit. All right. So
No, I said he coming
Nah.
together. No,
Yeah.
he said people to fight it, and to bring it back to what's going on right now. There is a full moon this weekend, or there was in
Yeah.
Virgo.
It was
A lot of
yesterday. It
fuck
was
shit.
like a freaking huge, massive blood moon, and it was supposed to be like eclipsing the Earth or something.
it was an
I don't know.
eclipse, a full eclipse. You guys didn't see it. Oh man, I was cop watching.
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was
You saw
fucking
it?
massive.
Yeah,
I saw it. Yeah.
I wish
I was working on the road. I pretty much had it in my face all night.
Yeah. I had to go to the emergency room with my son the other day, so that's probably why I didn't see that shit like that.
Oh man, I was out there for like 3 hours before. I got the time wrong. I was out there for hours waiting on it. Then I was an hour off. I had to give it another hour, and I got into 2 cop watches. And as I was cop watching, as it was over, it was kind of wild. I was talking to one of the cops, and he was like, what made you come out here? I was like, actually, I was on another scene across the street. It was an accident, and then they called some guys they thought was stealing across the street, and I ran over here. And he was like, the only reason I'm out here is waiting for the eclipse. He said, yeah, this is the first time it's happened since 1539 or something like that. I said, is that true? He was like, yes, the last time this was the same was in 1530 something. Like, damn.
15:30 something now.
And it was crazy the way the eclipse happened. It like a shadow creeped over. It wasn't sharp like when the moon creeped across. When a solar eclipse, it was like spooky. Like, I don't know, a spaghetti, not alligator, octopus arms or something crept up with the shadow. It was just like really incredible.
Wow.
And it totally eclipsed it. I mean, like totally. I mean, it just vanished from the sky. It was great.
What time was that?
The peak of it was like 2:00 here, but it started at I think 12 something, and about 2:00 it was gone, and then it would have come back. I didn't watch it come back. I just watched it leave.
And it's funny that it's in Virgo, and that a lot of us believe that Virgo represents like perfectionism, and this full moon is kind of like nudging us towards maybe not being so prioritize being perfect so much and over analyzing things, and in that the belief that we must kind of earn our own worth in life.
This makes no sense to me, right? I am doing the only thing I can come up with is, as I believe, if you believe something, it looks like all reality is only what you believe. There's a strong argument there. But logically, I can't see how fucking being in the house of Virgo, the moon fucks with you. It's just not logical.
Well, that's why. That's exactly the way you said it. Is like what I've been trying to say for years. Is the power of astrology is it's just a template, bro. Because like you said, I could have talked about a plumber fixing your sink, your leaky sink, and came up with some mystical thing, and it probably. If it sounded good, you probably can use it to better your life or focus on some blind spots. It's just that with astrology, it's one that people have been using for years, and it could, because we can be focusing on many things. This is
true.
This is just telling, like you said, because we make up our reality with our spells, with the words we say out, right?
Yeah.
And focusing on, for example, in this moon, like perfectionism and over analyzing stuff and earning your keep is just one of the many things you can do. So that's why I don't trip on so much of like trying to define details of, like you said, because you're right, because it doesn't make any sense.
I can't find it, right?
Yeah, but what you put meaning does. We have the power to define.
Fucking, for instance, my entire life, I was gonna go living that, believing that the police and judges, that they had authority over me. Now I know they never had authority, but my belief made it so. It's unreal now, but my belief made it so. If I'm telling the motherfucker, I don't argue, the police got authority. It's reality to me. Now I argue the opposite, and it's my reality. Maybe I'm just making this shit up as I go along.
Well, essentially, that's kind of like an answer to the title of the stream, because some people essentially have their reality created by government officials.
Yes,
their whole lives rotate around it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why in the chat I put they are our gods now. The government is God. That's who you worship. That's who you grade people by. Did you get a job, a house?
That's why it's written in God we trust on the dollar bill, because that's because the God essentially.
That
is then there's other people that's finance that live their word as finance as their God. You know,
finance in the God money,
but in the LTW just showed us nowadays in the modern times it's merging, right? Corporation and government.
Yes.
And blatantly.
Yes.
Elon Musk, Trump.
If you're a fan of the Bible, would say the dragon will give its power to the beast. Everybody said it was the Pope joining with the government, but
nah, man.
It's got to be Elon Musk and Trump. It's got to be that.
It sounds like private merging with public with the government. Private businesses merging with the government. Yes, that could be the beast and giving its power to the dragon.
Yeah, because if we take the American God template that we showed earlier, it's like the old gods. The old gods are still okay in terms of finance God and government God, but because they merge in, but the fucking spiritual God, like represented by the Pope, we'll just say, it's not doing too good right now. He's literally dying right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He may even have a doppelganger that's the exact opposite that people worship and think it's him. Like you say, all 7 different Jesuses. And some people may have a different version of what they think he is.
What they think, yeah.
They might go as far as trying to banish Christianity altogether.
I don't see why not. It's logical. If we don't want offensive language, it's logical that Christianity has put itself on the chopping block.
Yeah. But you think it'll ever go away, though? There's always going to be some like rebels out there?
I'll be one. It won't go away as long
of course
as I'm alive.
There's going to be, but it's not going to be hard for them to take them out.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? It's like with all the systems and how they're going to put things into place, the technology, the drones, the fucking the VRs, uploaded consciousness, AI intelligence, fucking remote control robots. Who knows, man?
Yes.
So Islam will be sanctioned? They'll take over the spot, or that won't even be applicable?
Yeah, so will the robots, any motherfucker be like over there in Tibet? Anybody with a picture of the Dalai Lama
religion
or
in general,
something?
you're saying?
Will a robot come and break in your door because your neighbor told on you you'll have no rights? You won't be able to fight. He's metal. He's fucked up. Yeah, that's where we're headed.
Damn.
Or you'll
there's so much predictive programming.
And you'll be one of them. Once you get the chip in your head and show that you belong to them, less chance that robot's going to come through your door.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. And there are going to be so many different ways to how they're going to implement this. They're going to probably even have you upload your consciousness onto the internet and have them, get rid of your body in reality.
Funny you should say that. Bezos and them and some of them billionaires met with Trump just before he went to office, and he gave them X amount. They got something like a $650 billion plan to store everyone's DNA and something else. It'll come to them in Texas. And they say that once they get all of your DNA and shit, they can make specific drugs to cure your cancer. This is how they're selling it. Yeah.
Dude, no, you know what that is? That's the clone. That's where the cloning's gonna start. They're gonna clone. They're gonna make clones of these, and this guy died of this disease. So during the clones, dude, this is the same thing as the movie The Island.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember that? Aldous Huxley book. Aldous Huxley book. The Island, yeah.
Dude, it was like, wow, man, to make this island, and they have everybody believe on the island that they're gonna go to some paradise place and something.
When they're
gonna win
the
they're gonna win the lottery. Oh yeah, god.
That story's been played. It's been propagated. Like my high school students are reading a book right now called The Uglies, which they made into a Netflix, which is basically the same thing, except they're talking about there's a utopia for beautiful people, and then the ugly people have to live in the shithole.
Oh, The Uglies! I saw that, man.
We're reading that book right now. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But that's the thing. Like, to back it up a little bit, when we're talking about uploading the consciousness, this is something that was a book came out, a science fiction book in the early 90s about that very thing happening. And that's the thing about science fiction. It's not just science fiction. It literally is the catalyst that is the where people look to in the scientific technology community to where we're going.
Right. They're using
it's crazy.
The ideas of like generations like fucking, let's say, like 30, 40, maybe even like 60 years back, where they were imagining these things that we would have in the future. They probably used that as a kind of like a blueprint.
Yeah.
And but that's where I would argue gravity and theory of relativity, and I'd argue all of these things, because then that would also become a bunch of hogwash, right?
We got a paradigm shifter. What's up, Ragamuffin?
Coming up with a bunch of fucking weirdos. Dude.
What's up?
He's not a weirdo, this guy.
Total weirdo.
That's what it is.
Total weirdo.
Wisdom, knowledge to knowledge, my brothers.
We like
creates reality. We're gonna hit you with the question fast.
I do.
Get it.
You do. There you go. Yeah, he does.
You guys are all here. It's because I'm here.
Man, that's like that philosophy. It's not. It sounds like stoicism, but it's like when you believe everyone's a pawn in you, everybody's NPC, and they're like only a character in your world.
They say
there's a word for that.
At some point in their life believes that.
Yeah. But there's a particular word. I see a lot of psychedelics getting like that lately.
Well, I tend to, I like dabbing in there sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like saying like but I obviously it's in my imagination, but I'm still, imagining like, okay, this is my universe. Okay, this is my world. Yeah. This is pretty much everything here belongs to me. So okay, everybody that lives here, you guys are all lucky. I'm letting you live here. Yeah, I'm just gonna live my life and not really bother you guys. You can just do whatever you want.
It'd probably be more like this. It'd probably be more like this. This is your world, and everyone around here is an NPC, but they all have a task, duty, job. And it won't be what you think it is. Joe will be here to show your shortcoming in yourself. When you're correcting NPC is to teach yourself how to do better in a certain place. We would all be your mirrors, perfecting you.
That makes a lot of sense. That actually makes a hell of a lot of sense, Joe.
Yeah.
Dang, son.
But how could you actually be like the lower? What are you, the lowest version of yourself?
You're talking about in the way I just spoke. Are you the lowest version of yourself? In that sense?
Because if you're meeting always, like, let's say, kind of like a better version of you, who's just guiding you through your journey.
Yes,
you're essentially
your knowledge that you don't have. Yeah,
you're essentially your lowest self.
But it doesn't work like that though, because it's all about you. So in a way, you are that guy. Everybody took their attention for you. So in a way, you're not lower self, right? Because you're that guy for that moment. I think it's all. I think it's all. We are all one, all joined. Each having a moment. You niggas love me, and you join in my moment. I love you. I join in your
Yeah.
moment. And I, our minds are restricted. We don't understand being in two places at once,
Mhm.
and things not being reality. We don't even understand that shit. So I believe two things could be occurring. More are occurring at the same time. And I didn't
Right.
explain that last part well, but there was more
Well,
to
that was,
that shit.
the beginning part was great, and then
Man.
it dovetailed to what it was a
Yeah,
good build off of what OTW said earlier about the imagination. He's like, this is all my. That's I
yeah,
mean that's the case. That's Neville Goodar's whole spiel
Yeah.
about how what the imagination truly is, what the Bible truly is getting to know that your imagination is God, and
yeah,
Jesus was here to show us that. You
yeah.
know, and like that's his take on it, which makes to me actually makes the Bible a lot more alive
Oh
and
yeah.
Yeah,
fun to
yeah,
work
Hell
with when
yeah.
you start looking at it like that.
Well, that's how I actually
know?
see the Bible. I see it in such an allegorical sense that I can't even read it literally anymore. It's like
yeah,
I understand its profound message.
yeah.
It's
And I
essentially
certainly can't
it's
argue over was so and so a Philistine or a Papasite.
Hmm.
No, it's more allegorical to me too, bro.
yeah, it's more or less telling you about yourself than you realize. The book is
Hmm.
practically talking to you
Yes,
and explaining it practically in your own language.
makes it more impressive. A 3,000-year-old book speaks to me like that in my language. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Dude,
it is.
yeah, exactly. And that's how you
It-
know that God, the word of God is impenetrable, because if you're looking at it through spiritual eyes, you're communicating with God.
Yeah,
But if
Yeah.
you're
yeah.
looking at it through
I like
literal
it. I like
interpretation,
it.
from a worldly perspective, you're not going to be in communion
Yes.
with God. You're going to have
I
this.
I'll disagree respectfully, or just have this caveat on what you just said in terms of like my thing is, and maybe makes me why I'm kind of a maniac. I'm trying to hold two things in my head at the same time about the Bible. One, I truly believe it is like our allegorical. You know, those are all metaphors for what's going on in this consciousness in ourselves. However, I'm okay also believing that maybe this stuff really did happen in a sense. These people did these things and whatnot.
Yeah,
I'm okay with
boy.
that.
I'm okay
You know,
with
I'm okay
that
with
too,
that.
but it's
Because-
almost
Well,
irrelevant.
okay. I'm
Well,
not going
maybe
to
for you.
disagree with your premise, but what I'm going to say is, what I disagree with is the fairy tale part of the book that they have people swallow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I heard somebody else mentioning earlier, where you can go confess your sins and you do 3 Hail Marys and
Yeah.
our fathers,
Uh-huh.
and you accept Jesus as that died on the cross to free you of your sins, and go and sin no more, and then you're all good. I think that's a bunch of load of crap, right? It's just like, for me, that's fairy tale-ish completely. There's nothing substantial or nothing that actually proves that what they're saying is true.
We just argued for them for the first half of the show. What you believe it can be real.
Yeah, so
we
that
just,
could work for somebody.
we just argued
Not for
for
you.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right. But then it's like it comes down to arguing perspectives then.
Or it
Why
must be
argue? Let's let it be.
where we actually are making individual realities in this fucking place.
Hmm.
Boy, wow. Okay, that was actually a tough argument to because I guess I don't agree with that. I don't agree deceiving people. I don't.
No.
That's not. It's not honorable. There's no honor
I
in
agree.
that. There's no. I just can't handle it. For me, it's you're teaching people lies, and that's like despicable to me. You can't do that. It's not right.
Okay, you're assuming that that they're incorrect and
Yes.
you are
Yeah.
correct. That okay. We'd have to assume that your way is absolutely correct. You'd have to be absolutely
we would
right,
have
'cause
to-
you
I would
teach
have
people
to
what you
work-
believe. It doesn't make you absolutely correct, but you teach people what you believe, and you stand on it. I believe this. They believe
Mhm.
that. It don't mean you're lying. Or
I've been actually thinking of rewriting the whole Bible, and decipher all of the allegories in every single story. It was the best way I could have found to actually bring forth maybe the actual sound translations of what the Bible
All right.
really meant. Because
If
when
that's
you're
true.
hold on, listen. If you're looking at it allegorically, the whole Bible makes sense. There are no inconsistencies or incoherencies. The Bible does not contradict itself when it's translated allegorically, but when it's translated literally, there are phenomenal amounts of discrepancies and things that just don't fucking fit.
I'm not so
But
sure.
but life is like that. Your narrative, your personal narrative is like that. The shit that you think really happened, a lot of it didn't happen the way you think it did. So in that way, with that saying, it's like, that's what I mean. Some people need literal concrete things, need to dwell in that reality rather than allegorical. Now, me per se, I think the allegorical is more sexier and fun. However, I can understand how a person would definitely get a lot of use out of looking at those stories as literally happening, even though it might sound boring or inconsistent to other people.
Because the human brain needs to grasp onto something I believe it's probably to stay sane, right? You need to believe in something to give you a meaning for life, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that would be the trap, because I think you move beyond that particular space, you'd find yourself
for
in
both of y'all.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of you, OTW appears to be more allegorical. You're more literal. I'm going to give a story. I'd like you guys take on it. Noah. You want to go first, OTW? I assume you have an allegorical take, and you don't assume the entire world flooded in half and all 2 animals. I don't assume you believe that.
No, I don't.
So, what does Noah's story mean to you?
Noah's Ark, I believe, is the. I think it has something to do with the ascension. The flood is when your brain is flooded with the sacred secretion. Right?
Well, I don't know about all that, but I think I hear where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is where it comes from, because pretty much all of the allegorical meanings that I've extracted from the Bible has everything to do with human biology. Mm-hmm. And all of these things also align with astrology, funny enough. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. So I pretty much believe that it's like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the fucking universe, and it pretty much explains how your body, like the human body, connects with this realm. Okay, and how the biological functions and like the liquids or secretions that your brain and glands that you have in your body are used for different types of processes. Okay. So, and one of those processes would probably be feeding the brain. So essentially, probably there is like through what I've researched in Kundalini and many other different cultures, where they use this sacred secretion, they have it rise through the spinal column, and it goes up into your what's it called? They call that the crucifix, but essentially it's the claustrum, where your cervix meets the top of your spinal column, and that's essentially the crucifixion. This is where this liquid goes back up into your brain and essentially feeds all of the essential nerve endings and all of the things that are prominent for your existence. In like all of the minerals, because essentially your brain, all it needs is mineral salts to survive or to function. For it to
you're taking us far.
So that's just to clarify your position. So that's what you think the story of Noah is for, the purpose.
Well,
of it?
actually, kind of broke down like the whole Bible, not just Noah, but Noah is like one of the stories.
Noah, though.
Right. Well, Noah is one of the stories. I believe that it's pretty much explaining in detail how the process was done. Right.
Okay.
So, and the building of the ark and all of these animals are essentially probably just how I can say it, biological functions in your body that group together to
DNA strands or something. 2 by 2.
Right.
They
exactly.
ascend to your so and so. Yeah.
Like I said, it's not something far-fetched that would be like it's not something that's supernatural or has superpowers, whatever. No, it's all by
NPCs.
Right. My allegorical interpretations of it always goes towards the biological functions of the body.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting take, and I liked how you did that. But that might also, before I say my take, that also may be supernatural. Like what you just said, might as well be a supernatural thing to someone that's not very versed in biology and anatomy and physiology. But here's what I say about what's your question again, Joe? About
My
what do I
question
think
was
the
Noah's Ark. Do you
Noah's
take
Ark?
that literally, or what does it mean to you?
It means to me is it's a story. Noah's Ark is a story, as you know, of a man that got something in his head that the world is about to be fucked up, right? And he was worried for his family and also his neighbors. So he started to prepare to leave because all the places
Wait, stop. You do remember me and you talked about how the Bible is
Okay, let's
speaking
go.
to us? And no, we're gonna keep going. But I'm just saying this is echoing how we just said that it's 3,000 year ago book is speaking to us. So this message, the guy
Oh,
that's
okay. What does it mean? I get it.
it would no,
What does
you're
it mean
doing
to me?
perfect. It would mean God dog it, shut up. This message will be crafted for you. So when you're talking about a man in despair, I'm hearing you were in despair. It would have to apply
Yes,
to
sir.
you somehow.
That's
All
what
right.
That's I should have prefaced that. All the stories that I hear in the Bible, all the stories that you guys tell me, I'm always trying to relate it to my life. So in a sense, they are analogies, allegories, your life
That
stories,
mirror.
and when I read
That
to everything I'm doing. That's all I
yeah.
think I'm learning, right? And then Noah is an example of that. And in that Noah story, it's telling me that there things were happening that weren't
Yeah.
serving me. My way of life was not beneficial, was not conducive to living a healthy life,
And he took
and
his
I needed
family and left. That's
and
dope.
left, right, and I had to leave. And I also warned people, and when I was warning them, they just partied more. The days of Noah, as they say, they were just
That's
partying
dope.
and like kind of spitting in my face by me
Yeah,
handing pearls to swine, we can say,
that's
right?
dope.
So I said, fuck it. I got the animals, I got the people who listen, and
Yes.
I pimped off, right?
Very
Only
good.
to
I
be,
like
and it's like, and it's an allergy, it's an allegory.
it.
Don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily believe if that really happened. I don't care really. My point is,
Remember, I
it's
said
real enough.
almost
It's real enough.
irrelevant. I said almost irrelevant. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was
Yeah.
saying.
It's real enough though. It's real
Yes,
enough that gives me
Adam and
a model to
Eve.
use. Yeah.
Adam and Eve. I don't know the story. I believe it and
It's the
all of
same
that
story,
stuff.
basically, though. All these stories are like, if you think about it, like all these stories are the same story happening over and over again, just to remind you to hit the pattern of, you need to reset yourself. You need to do a paradigm shift every now and then. You need to analyze yourself and see where you're at so you know where you're going,
Yes.
Um,
How you know your
but
direction.
and part of that is doing what LTW said for our engineering family, engineers and metaphysicians. That the way it was perfect for me. A guy that's like into the pragmatic stuff, like what's really gonna, what am I dealing with right now? What can I use right now from
How
the
can I
story?
use it? Yes.
Well, that's why I come from it. That's
Me
why it
too.
doesn't matter to me if it's real or fake. The story, it's real enough. I'll make it real.
Yes. I tell you, I'm just saying.
Okay,
So that's how I look at the Bible.
I like that that perspective that you have on that. Actually,
Yeah.
it's not bad. At least you're staying critical. You're not you're not feeding into the fairy tales, which I that at least I can resonate with, because it's the whole the dude coming back in the clouds to save your ass. The dude, I seriously don't.
Yeah, some people need that though. Maybe though, I'm okay with that though. Are you okay with that though? If they need that,
dude, I'm fine with that for them. If that's what they need, go for it. I mean, I do understand that this realm needs to be governed under some sort of archetype because that's what, I mean, not everybody has, or is, how can I say this? Not everybody is independent. There's a majority of people out there who are dependent on this particular system or a multitude of other things, right?
right? Some people need help. Well, this is a good statement, interesting from Shadow Buddha. He said, "OTW religion can promote compassion, social justice, and charitable work. Additionally, many people find personal and profound experience with their faith." which cannot be dismissed as mere lies. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I've been to the chamber where I was like, fuck religion, because I grew up as a Catholic, you know, and I was very jaded by it. And then I discovered some other religions and whatnot. And then now I'm at a point where it's like, I'm okay if you believe in these religions. If that gives you peace, that's fine. But hopefully it doesn't make you worse. And I think maybe that's what OTW, what you're kind of sick of, maybe, or whatever.
If they're arguing about little shit like, man in the sky returneth and all of that shit, then religion is making you worse. Muslims are going to hell. They don't, whatever. But if you're latching on to what I think the big thing is merciful, forgiving, the big lessons. If you're living that part in your life as opposed to arguing about other shit, then the Bible, yes, it was what it was meant for, to teach you a lesson. Be kind to others. All that bullshit.
Yeah, no bullshit. Let's ask Ragamuffin. How you been, bro? I'm sorry we're having a chat with you.
We see how
What's
Joe
good with
really
you, bro?
stands on his convictions there. All that bullshit.
All that bullshit.
Yeah, I stand on that bullshit.
Man, what I want to know is when's the
What's up,
book
Zephyr?
coming out, though? When's
What book?
Pimping Off, bro?
Pimping off. Pimping off the what's really going on story.
Yes, the story.
Yeah.
Bro. Yeah.
Hey man, it's writing it. That's why I have the other channel called the Book of Gabriel, man.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
I didn't
Book of
either.
You gonna have to
that's
send
my
me a
first
link to
channel.
that, sir. I'm gonna have to check
No,
that
why'd
out.
you say that? What's in the Book of Gabriel that made you name your channel after it?
Because I believe it's a narrative theory of consciousness that we're all living in our own narratives. I mean, people would say, we're all living our own narratives.
Book of Gabriel.
Yeah.
You got that out of the Book of
We're all living
That's
our
my
own
narrative.
narratives.
That's my narrative. And when we come together, this is the meta narrative. All of us joining.
Yes.
It's also a representation of the flower of life, or the Vesica Pisces.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the bubbles intersecting together. MasterCard uses that as their symbol. And also Audi uses it as their symbol.
Yeah. And Olympics too and all that.
Olympics, yeah. So they have the interconnecting circles, but that is actually representing probably all of our bubbles. And that we all have like our independent lives simulation, but when we come in contact with each other, our bubbles connect. So the simulation adapts itself to 2 people, or then maybe 3 people.
Can we say that's like the New Testament? Like it's like all the different perspectives of the same story, more or less, of Jesus's life.
Right, but the New Testament is essentially a copy of the Old Testament. The Old Testament is the same thing.
Yeah,
the Old Testament
it's just a more personable, friendlier, like more, personable version of the hardcore Jehovah Old Testament, where he was like more like a slumlord at times.
Yeah, and
then you got the like what we've been talking about lately, this discovery of the Moses Scroll and the Holy Megillah, the Nasarian Essene Bible, which says a very different thing, right? And they're talking about like, man, Yahweh was he wasn't doing all these things, but Lucifer was masquerading at times, wanting the blood sacrifices and the bullshit. So
no, I never read that, but I'd like to hear that.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I've seen some breakdowns where people have made distinctions between 2 different gods in the Bible.
Oh yeah,
the big G God and the little G God.
Yeah,
the little G God would essentially represent Satan.
Well, according to this Megillah, the beginning and the ending portion are some of the most interesting parts, because when it gets into the seals, it actually talks about things going on right now, and it even seems to talk about the USA, calling it the land of the eagles. So it's like really wild.
You see, there again, I find an allegorical interpretation to the seals, and I think the seals are the 7 chakras, not some sort of.
Yeah, you're bringing it back to yourself, which is good.
Course,
I like that way.
Yeah,
the small picture and the big picture.
Definitely.
Yeah, as above, so below, so below, as above.
Here
we go. Exactly.
Matrix was by one of our teams, and we reduced the Saturnian output by about 50%. I didn't destroy it, but we hit it really hard. And very, very soon after that, the papers for Biden's impeachment came out, which we thought was rather entertaining. But when we went to the moon on this mission this evening, we this is where it gets really interesting. There were at least 140. We saw many wells, many storage areas for captured souls, and they were from at least 140 species. And some of them were there for so long, like 50,000 years or more, that we think that the moon, like there's this theory floating around that the moon has been parked here to project its energy on Earth. And yeah, but like this is just another little piece of evidence, because the souls that we found there, the story would make sense if the moon had gone through from planet to planet to planet and soaked up and captured souls from each different planet with all the.
No, it doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't. No. Those just niggas lunatic.
Sorry about that. I was saying that makes sense, bro. Like what OT resonates with OT said about Ghostbusters, or Joe said about Ghostbusters. Like the moon is like sucking the soul, because that's the interesting part of the Saturn moon matrix theory, is that we're living in this. It's a Gnostic theory, kind of. We're in a prison planet here, and when you quote unquote die and you see the light, that's actually kind of like a trap. And I don't necessarily believe this, but this is what they think, that when they say go to the light, this is what they call the archons or the demiurge, the false gods of this world, telling you to go to heaven through the light, when in fact all that's doing is recycling your soul and bringing you back to Earth. And I guess this guy's saying that the souls go into the moon sometimes. And there's like some type of buffer or barrier around the moon and the Earth where you can't, when you quote unquote die, you can't go beyond that. You're trapped in the prison planet.
I'm gonna listen.
What's up, Joe?
Yeah, I was gonna add on to that is like, you guys were talking earlier about Elon Musk. Well, I think he's pretty much a representative of Saturn or Satan himself, because it's in his name. L is Saturn. L is Father Time.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And
right.
Even in Superman, the whole freaking family is the line of L. Kal-El, Jor-El. They're all L's. Mm-hmm. You understand? So it's all about Saturn. It's all about Satan. And what I was trying to get at is Elon is an L. He's L on Musk.
Yeah. Elon Musk. Huh?
Yeah.
It is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. That L. I saw that the other day too. It reminded me about that. Yeah, the L. That is Saturn worship. Yeah. Joe, you gonna add on something with that? A rag? Oh yeah. He's probably resetting or whatever. Let's go.
Different species that they've had available to them there. And
what's up, Ozzy? Good to see you.
Weird stuff. And for us to say the word weird, it's not a small thing at all. But some very, very weird beings came out. Some of them were Gaia offered to look after some of them. Shiva offered to look after some of the others. Central Sun was where we sent the rest of them, because we got this is not the first time we've released captured souls, but it's just been so many that we don't know. It's just really not.
All right, okay. This part's kind of strange. Oh, that's one view of what reality is. What creates your reality, the Saturn new moon matrix. Here's another one. Have you ever heard of the Seth material?
Nope.
The Seth, this lady and her husband channeled this deity or alien named Seth, who actually I think was the precursor, came before Abraham Hicks, like stuff. And the Seth is an alien that supposedly is dictating the makeup of reality. And this is like, this lady wrote many books about it, and this is her take on it. And so let's see what Seth had to say about what makes up our reality. Shout out to Justin in the Netherlands who put me on to Seth. Let's see.
Nature of Personal Reality, a Seth book by James. The Nature of Personal Reality, a Seth book by Gene Roberts, read by Martin John, Chapter 2, Session 614, September 13, 1972, 9:36 p.m., Wednesday. Chapter 2. Reality and Personal Beliefs. You form the fabric of your experience through your own beliefs and expectations. These personal ideas about yourself and the nature of reality will affect your thoughts and emotions.
Too bad Joe's not here because that's kind of like what he was saying. Your thoughts and beliefs make up a reality. Earlier.
You take your beliefs about reality as truth and often do not question them. They seem self-explanatory. They appear in your mind as statements of fact, far too obvious for examination. Therefore, they are accepted without question too often. They are not recognized as beliefs about reality, but are instead considered characteristics of reality itself. Frequently, such ideas appear indisputable, so a part of you that it does not occur to you to speculate about their validity. They become invisible assumptions, but they nevertheless color and form your personal experience. Some people, for example, do not question their religious beliefs, but accept them as fact. Others find it comparatively easy to recognize such inner assumptions when they appear in a religious context, but are quite blind to them in other areas. It is far simpler to recognize your own beliefs in regard to religion, politics, or similar subjects than it is to pinpoint your deepest beliefs about yourself and who and what you are, particularly in relationship with your own life. Many individuals are completely blind to their own beliefs about themselves and the nature of reality. Your own.
Why do you think that is? They're blind to the nature of themselves and reality, or their actual reality. You're not thinking about that? Hello? Y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Why do I think so? I think because most people are distracted on things that are that don't cause them to want to have the urge to look to see what they're made of, because they assume there's something that they assume that there's something that couldn't be anything else. So that's probably why most people don't look into these things.
Conscious thoughts will give you excellent clues. Often you will find yourself refusing to accept certain thoughts that come to your mind because they conflict with other usually accepted ideas. Your conscious mind is always trying to give you a clear picture, but you often allow preconceived ideas to block out this intelligence.
Is that in the form of self-doubt, maybe? Doubt and yeah. You're always getting a clear view. You're always getting a clear screen of what's going on, but there seems to be some type of disconnect from it sometimes.
It has been fashionable to blame the subconscious for personality problems and difficulties. The idea being that early events, charged and mysterious, lodged there. In this country, several generations grew up believing that the subconscious portions of the personality were unreliable, filled with negative energy, and contained only locked up unpleasant episodes best forgotten. They grew up believing that the conscious mind was relatively powerless, that adult experience was set in the days of infancy. These concepts themselves set up artificial divisions. People learn that they should not be aware of subconscious material. The doors to the inner self were to be shut tight. Only lengthy psychoanalysis could or should open them. The normal individual felt that he had.
So just say that people, a lot of us thought, and I think I had this growing up too. The only way you should look within, so shout out to Patrick, is when you're dealing with a quote unquote professional psychiatrist or psychologist. Other than leave it to the professionals type of stuff instead of like checking in with what you think is yourself, what's really going on. Definitely had that. Didn't even know it.
Had best leave such areas alone. So in cutting off these portions of the self, barriers were also set up against the joy of the inner spontaneous self. People felt divorced from the core of their own reality. The concept of original sin was a very poor, limited, and distorted one. But at least along with it went rather simple procedures. Through baptism you might be saved, or through certain words or sacraments or rituals redemption could be found. See the Gospels according to Mark 1:1-11, for instance. The idea
Oh, it said how do you see yourself from within yourself? Zephyr's words. It's not taught from birth, unless your parents consciously do that, which is not a lot of us. And there's also a lot of prioritizing of the external world, reinforcement of separateness, so many reasons. Yes. Yeah, there is a lot of reasons under the form of distraction of what's really going on with yourself. And for that matter, others with others.
of the tainted subconscious, however, left man no such relatively easy way out. The few rituals possible required years of analysis which only the very wealthy were privileged to experience. About the same time that idea of the unsavory subconscious arose so strongly, the idea of the soul went out the window. Millions of people therefore believed in a reality in which they were deprived of the idea of a soul and burdened by the concept of a very unreliable.
Patrick with a comment. Funny you say that I'm programming my children to know they can do anything instead of suppressing their worldview on what's possible for them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think with my own son, I would tell him probably some blind spots that you can probably pretty much do almost anything you put your mind to it. However, let's be realistic sometimes. When something's not progressing in the manner it should, at the rate it should. And when that happens, then we can address those things. But until then, you could be like, let them do what they, let them understand for themselves. It reminds me of this real quick. This Serena Williams' sister interview with 2020, where the reporter said something to them, and the father got really angry, and he put him in check. He doesn't want them limiting their daughters. There we go. There we go. Let me get this one real quick. It's just me. Everyone's just pimping off, huh? Hey, thanks for coming up.
You think you can beat it? I know I can beat it. You know it. And let her be an answer it with a lot of confidence. Leave that alone.
Damn, yeah, don't put that doubt in there. Shout out to LeVar Ball.
Big man.
That energy. Good dads unite. Patrick, Gabriel, OTW, Joe Cool. Yeah, wait. Let me see. Where were we at? Don't let me be in love.
If not definitely evil, subconscious. They saw themselves as vulnerable, solitary points of egos, riding perilously
All right, OT
and
Bobby, thanks, bro.
unprotected upon tumultuous waves of involuntary processes. At about the same time, many intelligent persons were realizing that organized religious ideas of God and of heaven and hell were distorted, unjust, and smacked of children's fairy tales. For these individuals, there was no place to look for help. Under the circumstances, to look within would have seemed foolhardy, for they had been taught that this within contained the source of their problems to begin with. Those who could not afford therapy tried the harder to inhibit any messages from the inner self, for fear they would become swallowed by the savage, infantile emotions. Now, first of all, there are no limitations or divisions to the self, though for purposes of discussion, a word like ego may be used here because you understand what you think it means. You can indeed depend upon seemingly unconscious portions of yourself. As you will see later, you can become more and more consciously aware, therefore bringing into your consciousness larger and larger portions of yourself. You breathe, grow, and perform multitudinous, delicate, and precise activities constantly, without being consciously aware of how you carry out such manipulations. You live without consciously knowing how you maintain this miracle of physical awareness of the world of flesh and time. The seemingly unconscious portions of yourself draw atoms and molecules from the air to form your image. Your lips move, your tongue speaks your name. Does the name belong to the atoms and molecules within your lips or tongue? The atoms and molecules move constantly.
In the name belongs to yours truly, our good friend Patrick. What's going on, bro? Look with it.
What's up, bro? Are you getting off soon?
No, I got a little bit more of this segment, and then one more after that. So I'm here.
I was gonna type all this crap out in chat, but man, your talk really got to me the other night about how this sector of YouTube is full of a bunch of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you, you got me on Discord. I'll still be on there, but I probably won't be around this area much more. I'm gonna definitely
Good
follow you. I'm just making a new channel, man. I'm my focus is on different things now.
Mm-hmm.
On abundance, all this scarcity drama bullshit. You know what I mean? So you're right.
There's no room for it, huh?
Totally right. No, not really. Not if you want to advance. Not if you want to evolve. And that's what this year's about. If you don't, and this channel I made, it wasn't a bad experience, but it's part of my old self, so I gotta let it go. I just gotta move on. But no,
I'm glad you recognize that.
Oh yeah.
That's
what's great about it. I'm having my third child this year, bro. I can't fuck around with this anymore.
Wow, congratulations, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Three is a charm.
Yeah, exactly. You're saying sorry. That's what's great about it. I interrupt too much. Part of my ADD.
No, I mean, it's great about this whole situation. It's like everything's right and exact. This was a great stopover, huh? The Panelverse. It was fun.
Yeah.
Good transition.
There's
I'll call it 11.
Here, man. It's just looping insanity, bro.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And you see, it's funny how and even if it was yours or someone I didn't know that was doing a broadcast like this, me personally, I'd be like, oh shit, reality? They're talking about reality, man. That's very I know it's abstract, but then again, we're gonna make it in a way that we can relate to our lives. But it's like, bro, you got 4 people here, which I love. That's great. But then some of these people with the drama, people want to see that, man. It's like the heron. Yeah.
They love tearing each other down, dude. And it's like,
Yeah.
I can't be around that, man. If I'm around
Yeah.
that, I'm gonna become that. And I get why you're separating yourself. You're definitely not. You're not one of them, dude. You're definitely not one.
Nah.
I'll tell you that.
Thank you for saying that. For reminding me. I hope not. And if I was, I think you would tell me, and some other friends would tell me too.
No,
You know,
I
because
got sucked into it, dude. I recognize that in myself. That's why I'm like, fuck this. I can't be that. It's garbage. It's not a way to be.
Damn, look. Yeah. That's all it took was a little bit of like a nudge, like, hey, look over there, look. Right?
It's
so like, look over there,
yeah. You really
no,
helped me though, man. You're one of the more wise people on here. And we got the same. We're from the same place. We left that place. We're always evolving, man. It's just it is what it is.
Right.
I'm not trying to stay poor and broke my whole life.
No, I know, and it's easy. It's a comfort zone. Like this, all of the above sector is it's a comfort zone where you could be poor. It's like, remember Rebecca and I, Miss NPC, we talk about this over the years. Like we can do without. We've already proven that we can live a fun, good life without. However, it's time to sit at the front of the table. Or at least more towards the front of the table.
Right.
Shout out to what's that?
We gotta step our game up.
Oh, absolutely, especially with 3 kids on the way. Look at Sasquatch. Congratulations. He said second grandchild due in April. Wow. He said second. So he's already a grandfather. I didn't even know he was. I don't remember him saying he was a grandfather, but that's cool, man. So him, LTW, Uncle Fatty, grandfathers.
And you just got a little boy that's my same age as my little girl, huh?
Yeah, 6. Yeah, that's it. Oh, yeah. And she's go. She's brilliant. She's brilliant. Like her reading skills and the way she expresses herself. It's what do you call that? A precocious child. It's like wise beyond their years. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Cool, she's an 11, man. She's an old soul. She's probably got more time here than I do, but here to teach me lessons. That's kind of how
right.
Kids.
Yeah. Man, they are. Yeah. I mean that thing. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Like I'm glad you were here when we were looking at that Teal Swan, who's someone I normally don't watch, but her parenting thing got me on a new level, or at least a new trajectory to look at like how like we say like our children are there, the new age sectors, there are teachers and whatnot, but she did a really good description about how. Hi, how you doing? What's going on?
How you doing? I'm good.
Good to see you. Are you having fun?
Yeah, she's gonna get to bed soon.
Yeah, she's gonna be a big sister again. Wow, that's so exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't be stuck in the loop though. Yeah, that Teal Swan, she is on some stuff. Man. She's deep in the child psychology. It's very interesting.
Who's that? Oh, Teal Swan. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, this is just a recap for y'all who didn't hear that watch that episode. That was a great episode, Parenting 101, right? And just reminding that when the child comes down to us and incarnates in this world, it's like a reminder of like from a genetic standpoint that this is where you're supposed to be at with your movement as a family and in your individual expression of that. Look to the child as a where you're going, what you're supposed to be going, where that the meta behind the physical is pushing you towards. Don't get me wrong, I don't agree with what I heard about parents who do that hands-off thing where they let I've heard stories where they let their kid playing shit because they're like, oh, I'm gonna let them do. Excuse me for my language, sorry about that, but I'm gonna let my kid just play with their with their poop and stuff. Let them do their thing. No, we're here to guide. We don't want to make sure they're clean and healthy. However, with that said, we don't want to get in the way of their individual expression of what they're supposed to do. Yeah,
that's how you get polio right there.
Are you? Yeah. Or you take that Bill Gates V, right? What's up with the? Yeah, Sasquatch probably has stories. He seems like he has like yeah, he's pretty. He knows a lot about a lot of things. Zeph is not a grandmother yet, I don't think, but she probably will be pretty soon. Um, yeah, man, let's get back on this real quick. I'm happy you came up here. I'm glad you came up here, bro. Appreciate you. I don't
Yeah,
take
for
that for
sure.
granted.
Thank you. No,
Yeah.
I don't want to type it all out in chat. It would have been like 50 paragraphs.
Hey, this is I heard the term being thrown out a lot. Hug box, like it's a bad thing. About certain streams, they're like, oh, that's a hug box. Like, my thing is, what's wrong with being kind, bro? Like, genuinely being kind. That's, to me, that's a high form of consciousness. You know,
There's not enough of it, man. It's rare.
no matter
Rare
how
for
much you
sure.
know or think you know. Yeah, there's not enough of it for sure. Yeah, back on this.
Forming into cells, tissues, and organs. How can the name the tongue speaks belong to them? They do not read or write, yet they speak complicated syllables that communicate to other beings such as yourself anything from a simple feeling to the most complicated information. How do they do this? The atoms and molecules of the tongue do not know the syntax of the language they speak. When you begin a sentence, you do not have the slightest conscious idea, often, of how you will finish it. Yet you take it on faith that the words will make sense.
What happened?
And your meaning will flow out effortlessly. All this happens because the inner portions of your being operate spontaneously, joyfully, freely. All of this occurs because your inner self believes in you, often even while you do not believe in it. These unconscious portions of your being operate amazingly well.
Oh, thanks for saying that, Sasquatch. He says muted. Look what it is. You didn't. Okay, I guess you. It's not your job necessarily to tell me. I was muted. I was trying to say something.
Oh,
I was saying.
I was waiting. Something happened.
Yeah. I was saying that. Thanks, Sasquatch. I was saying that. It's really amazing how we take it for granted, like how we speak. We're speaking now, and we're not thinking about really what we're gonna say before, but the words seem to come out just right. You know, and it's like, and I was saying it's like muscle memory. You know, like when you shoot enough jump shots, you have the the muscle memory that you don't even have to think about it. It goes in and
Oh yeah, it's part of the art of war. I forget exactly what it says.
Mhm.
It basically says wisdom comes when you need it. It says don't seek it. It'll come when you.
Oh, when you don't need it.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, when you need it, you said.
Yeah, it was by one of the greatest war generals of all time. So I mean, if he knew, if he was preaching that, I'd trust his ass because he didn't die. So
Yeah. Yeah, Sun Tzu. That's what Machiavelli was inspired by. Who he was inspired by, right?
wise man.
Yeah. What's this comment real quick? Excessive. Sexual. I said, being kind is fine, but being how do you say that word? I think it means it's excessive. It's not. Hello.
Obsequious.
Obsequious. Yeah.
That's out of my vocabulary, man.
Yeah.
It's not. I would take it in context. I mean, come on, Sasquatch, use smaller words for us, bro. Damn.
I know I know. Yeah, it's a flex. It's cool and all, but yeah, man. I haven't even seen that one in our college
I would
When we're
take it as
teaching
like,
college SATs. My class that we teach. That's a good word, but it means supposedly it means obedient or attentive to an excess.
people pleasing.
Obsequious. Yeah. Right, for sure. That's a good thing. But with that said, that is a pretty kind of a cringy look, I guess you could say. However, I would, not that I want to be like that, but I would rather fall on that side of error than to be a dick, like a snobbish, ungenerous person. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they call it? What do they say all the time? That they're parroting Paul. Everybody parrot. Half the people on this YouTube thing parrot Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even think of the damn word.
Because he's been around. He's been gone so long.
Disingenuous.
Oh,
Everybody calls
disingenuous. Yeah,
each
that's
other
a big word.
disingenuous. It's like, well, how do you know if I'm being disingenuous? Just because it's not your perception of what genuous is, you know what I mean, or genuine is.
Right. I don't know, man. There's a lot of dicks, though. I know. Not a. There's a reason why me and you're getting away from this shit. I'll just say that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, man. Where we're from, like I think about this often because of the different places I've lived. And not to interrupt you again, but where we're from, man, if you're an asshole or if you stare at people the wrong way, you're bound to get your ass beat or get shot. You get what I'm saying? Like, you gotta learn to walk a certain way and have respect for people, no matter who you are or where you're at. And
humble yourself.
I see in certain places, a lot of people, and I'm not saying anything about the Midwest. There's certain parts of the Midwest like that too, but like some of these smaller towns and places where people grow up and know everybody, they don't have that same problem because they know if that happens, everybody's gonna know right away who
they'll
did
check
it.
them.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is they can talk all the shit they want, but then they don't really back it up. So I think that's why we're different. It's because where we grew up, you had to watch yourself. Like you had to watch the way you speak to people. You had to have respect.
Yeah, but then there's some of the people from the Midwest and whatnot in the all the above sector don't seem to be very kind though. Some of them, I have to admit, man. But I guess maybe they didn't grow up in a small town, and just because you grew up in a small town doesn't mean you're going to be kind too.
That's the point, though. Is generalization. There's no consequences for it. They can talk shit and nobody will come and do anything for it. But I know in Bakersfield, man, you talk shit to the wrong people, they're gonna roll by and Swiss cheese your house up real quick. It's not a game out there.
Yeah.
You know the same thing from where you're at.
Yeah, man. It'll let you know in a second. Instant karma. Zephyr was a comment. She says, overly obedient will use you up with the quickness in my experience. Nah. Well, yeah, for you. Yes. That's your truth. If you say that's how you, that's cool. But for me, it won't use you up quickly. I'll just be like, okay, make a note, I certainly don't want to be around a super fakey Mr. Nice Guy type of person that's just being a chameleon so much that you don't get to see what they're about. With that said, though, like I said, I'd rather err on that than someone being a dick, Yeah. People take advantage of you if you let them. True. But some people are people pleasers, but they don't let people take advantage of them. That's just their mode. You met people like that, or you ever been in that chamber before?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, one thought that comes to mind is like, when getting I've had quite a few management positions at my jobs, and you can even tell them that straight up. You can be like, I'm just gonna say yes sir, and keep doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? That's what they want.
And to be honest, this is what probably made me like the captain of the football team and like one of the top players in basketball, was because of the times where I had like drill sergeant coaches, and while other people wanted to find a reason to bitch, I was just like, I just sucked it up and be like, this is for the greater good. I'm just gonna do what he says, everything they say.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a discretion you have to use. You can't just like fucking placate to every single person you meet. But there's some people that have earned that privilege that I don't mind. I don't mind being super kind to them, even overly kind sometimes. You know. Now if I can pick up if I pick up cues that they're kind of getting annoyed, yeah, for sure. Relax a little bit. You know.
Despite the greatest misunderstanding on your part of their nature and function, and in the face of strong interference from you because of your beliefs. Each person experiences a unique reality, different from any other individual's. This reality springs outward from the inner landscape of thoughts, feelings, expectations, and beliefs. If you believe that the inner self works against you rather than for you, then you hamper its functioning, or rather, you force it to behave in a certain way because of your beliefs. The conscious mind is meant to make clear judgments about your position in physical reality. Often false beliefs will prevent it from making these, for the egotistically held ideas will cloud its clear vision.
Shadow verse, Patrick. The egotistical ideas will cloud the vision.
Your beliefs can be like...
I don't know if you heard that. You're still putting it to bed, but if you heard that. He said egotistical ideas will cloud your vision. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I said panel verse.
Yeah. You gotta have goals, you know what I mean? Other than just
goals.
Entertaining. That's what for me at least.
That's all you've been talking about the last couple of months of your goals and stuff. So you have a purpose, man. you have a plan, you have a destination. Yeah.
That surround you. You must first recognize the existence of such barriers. You must see them, or you will not even realize that you are not free, simply because you will not see beyond the fences. They will represent the boundaries of your experience. There is one belief...
Yeah, because you could be like, you say like, oh, I have no job. I'm so free, like freer than I would be if I had another job. However, the person could be so locked into their old way of doing things and over identification of things that aren't serving them, that they truly do not see of what a slave to other things they are, that aren't serving them and whatnot.
Belief, however, that destroys our...
What'd you say?
I said most definitely.
Yeah.
Artificial barriers to perception, an expanding belief that automatically pierces false and inhibiting ideas. Now, separately, the South is not limited. That statement is a statement of fact. It exists regardless of your belief or disbelief in it. Following this concept is another. There are no boundaries or separations of the South. Those that you experience are the result of false beliefs. Following this is the idea that I have already mentioned. You make your own reality. To understand yourself and what you are, you can learn to experience yourself directly apart from your beliefs about yourself. What I would like each reader to do is sit quietly. Close your eyes. Try to sense within yourself the deep feeling tones that I mentioned earlier in Chapter 1. This is not difficult to do. Your knowledge of their existence will help you recognize their deep rhythms within you. Each individual will sense these tones in his or her own way, so do not worry about how they should feel. Simply tell yourself that they exist, that they are composed of the great energies of your being made flesh. Then let yourself experience. If you are used to terms like meditation, Try to forget that term during this procedure. Do not use any name. Free yourself from concepts and experience the being of yourself and the motion of your own validity.
Freeing yourself from all that, okay. And he was talking about the self, which leads me to the last segment. Paul Heidemann, right here. Let's see. Let me bring this up. His concept of selfing. We're like what I was talking about in the beginning of the broadcast about how we're more like a verb than a noun. We're in constant motion, constant flex.
All right. Well, any questions today on the topic? Anyone have any interest in putting something out there? How about selfing? What the hell is selfing? Yeah.
You ever heard that term, selfing? Look.
I haven't.
Selfing. Yeah, I love this right here. It's one of my favorite things to contemplate at the moment.
Yeah, I can just move your head and I'll see you're agreeing. Yes, yes. All right. This was one of the first things that happened with me.
Love you too, Zephyr.
You see a lot about time, the action of time here. And there's the one of the statements that we build the talks on is from Ramana's teachings, and that is the basic mental conception, the first one in time, is the non-existent thing is an existent thing. So consciousness arises, and then it becomes conscious of the thing, and it makes a mistake. It says the thing is an existent thing when it's a non-existent thing. Yes? And so now the mental state is fueled, and he uses the word presupposing, which is really cool because pre obviously would be of time. Yeah. Something pre this, that would mean there was a moment in time and there was another moment in time that was before this moment of time. Yeah. So presupposing. So the presupposing, so what's supposed is of time. Yeah. And so what's supposed is that the non-existent thing, which is the starting point, yeah, is an existent thing. It took time for the head to get there. Yeah. And then the head presupposes that idea before everything. Yeah. So it replaces the non-existent thing as the beginning with the existent thing. Yeah. And then we start there. We're not at the moment of time. We're in time in a moment. Yeah. The manufacturing of us. Yeah. So I start
like that. The manufacturing of us. Oh, that's like a rendering of the video game. I always use my favorite GTA. You know, the rendering of it. It's constantly rendering.
San Andreas. Yeah. I remember
Right.
that.
There you go. Remember sometimes even in the one before that, Grand Theft Auto 3, sometimes you'd be in that the fastest car, which is the FBI cruiser, like Continental or whatever, and you'd be going so fast that the screen couldn't keep up with it, the rendering.
Oh yeah.
Of the game, huh?
Those were good times.
Yeah. I don't know. It just kind of it resonates with me, or I like the idea anyway of how we're constantly rendering ourselves. T.S. Eliot told us the short story about a man that gets on a train. Is not the same person when he gets off. You know, completely different. What was going on? Not completely different, but we'll see.
I'd seen this. It was trippy because I was first introduced to a lot of stuff through recovery, and in recovery they use the term of self, the small s self, as the cause of the defeat. Yeah. And at this point, it's clear that the alcohol and the drugs or the food or the sex were the symptoms of it, not the cause. Yeah. So there was something underlying the drinking that was setting off that urge to drink. And they call it self, this little SELF. And it has a very important statement because when you come out of the condition of addiction, you're really out to lunch completely. Yeah, because a lot of stuff has been going on without knowing it. Yeah.
You muted, bro.
All right. Thank you.
I got you.
Because like what he said, let me back it up for a second real quick to get the full thing, what he said.
Urge to drink. And they call it self, this little SELF. And it has a very important statement, because when you come out of the condition of addiction, you're really out to lunch completely. Yeah, because a lot of stuff has been going on without knowing it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I can only imagine like when you're like a full-fledged addict and you put the brakes on and clean yourself up, you're probably like, where the fuck am I type of shit. Like what's been going on? I don't I don't understand all this shit that's happening because you were so out of you were so consumed with that addiction. You know, but that's the yeah, that's like kind of like how he'll say later on how all of us are kind of addicted to the self, the concept of the self, when in fact there's more to this reality than what's going on than just that, you know. So he'll even say that later on, that how this is where alcoholism and addiction in general comes from, because we're addicted to this concept of the self, when in fact there was something before that. You know, so.
Oh, yeah.
You may know
Been
what
there.
was going on out here, but a lot of stuff was going on without knowing it. And so you get sober, the chaos of the everyday activity is chilled after a while. You've been sober maybe a month now, 2 months, and something starts happening. You start becoming aware of stuff you weren't aware of at all. And one of the first ones I remember, I was in this big meeting, and in the beginning, people, yeah, and there was a big one in San Francisco on Tuesday nights at Grace Cathedral, really big meeting. And of course, being new, I sat in the back. Yeah, sat in the back. And when I was sitting there, I felt this like cocoon that I was in, that I had this cocoon, you could see through it. Yeah. So you didn't notice the cocoon, but I noticed it, and I was feeling like, man, it could be described as like terminal uniqueness. So I was in a terminal unique state, all manufactured. I was just under its influence. I wasn't the one doing it. Yeah. So under this influence and it felt like a cocoon, literally. And it's sort of like if you were living in a cocoon and you could see through it, and then suddenly you saw it. You didn't see what you saw through the glass, you saw the glass. That would be cool in a way, because you're getting down to something. So that hit me. And then I was going to meetings.
I kind of had that experience. I kind of like when I tried pharmawaska, and the peripheral edges of my vision look like Terminator liquid metal, and it kind of, normally where just something would be natural and organic, my vision, it kind of loosely made the structure of a frame, like I was looking through glass or something. But what he's talking about's probably even a bigger paradigm shifting without even using psychedelics,
where other people who had been taken over by this same drive would share their feelings, their thoughts, and their reactions to life. And I could only come to two conclusions after a little while. How did these people get my thoughts? Yeah, really. And it broke this terminal uniqueness. I saw that the defeat I was under was shared. Yes, this wasn't a unique, special, condemnation from God to smote Paul Hederman. It was just some thing took a lot of people over, used them for transportation, and you could start seeing the criminal at the debris of the crime. Yeah, you could see like how many people who think they're very uniquely different they end up in the same 3 parking spaces of institution, jails, and death. Yeah. So things start becoming suspicious. And what happens when that starts, that crack, the head may try to plaster over it, but the crack is very revealing. And then the cracks will continue to crack. Yeah. And if you ever notice one crack, it has a small thing, but then it becomes a bigger crack. Yeah. They're all the nature of a crack, but they become a bigger crack, and almost like a river gets bought. And
I'm looking at the crack in my wall right here from the earthquakes that happened a couple months ago. He's right. It does look like a river. A small crack becomes the larger crack, and there's tributaries.
I was thinking about that. It was a 7.2, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Remember
I was
talking to you.
You remember? Yeah, we were talking. Yeah.
Remember I was talking to you about the 72? Yeah, go.
No, go ahead. 72. What's that?
Oh, you remember
the number 72? Yeah, 72? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and how it relates. You told me it related to Wukong and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, and I mean, I'm making this new YouTube channel. You know, I'm into the numerology, so I tied in.
Yes.
I tied in my
be a master with it.
Right, my astrology and my numerology all into it, and I never realized, man, my initials equal 72. This shit just goes deeper and deeper. It's
yeah, that's deep. Yeah, and I thought of you too. What'd you say? D what?
PB.
Oh, PB. Yeah.
It's 72 and
72. Yeah.
Out. Yeah. I was like, damn, this is crazy.
Yeah, I was going in the right direction. I thought of you because Friday night over here was a very hard night because Ben he had the breathing problems because he had been sick. He had like walking pneumonia the last couple weeks, and I thought I was getting better, and come to find out, like he got another viral load stacked on top of that, another virus, something called croup or something. It was kind of like a whooping cough, and what it was doing, it was like inflaming his breathing tube, his throat, you know.
Yeah,
esophagus, yeah. So like when he would lay down and sleep, it would be restricted more, and he was like choking. He's like, can't breathe. And after him doing that a couple times, I'm like, we got to take him to the emergency, just, you know. So we went to the emergency, and he got like some treatment, kind of like the EpiPen stuff.
Yeah,
they put in exactly that, like and whatnot, and he was, you know, he's doing better. He's still sick, but he's getting better. He's getting better, yeah. But on the way walking, when everything was good, I'm happy. Like, you know, we're on the right path. Everything's good. Didn't have to stay overnight or anything. Because I saw a lot of sad things. Like, you know, in the emergency, like there's emergencies happening all the time, but unless you're there, you don't realize how thin the line between life and death is until you visit an emergency room, hospital, or whatever. There was kids that were very sick, and old people, and people in between. And this was on a full moon too. So anyway, we're walking to the parking lot, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm glad everything's good. And then what the number was in bright red letter, how many cars in the parking lot? 72.
Damn.
I'm like, oh, there's Patrick. He said, like, it's gonna be okay, Gabe.
Looking after you. Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, that's that.
I'm glad he's doing better, man. Yeah. I had a similar type thing recently, actually, but I just get over my illness quick. And the kids got sick too, but I definitely felt that in my esophagus, like a tightness, where it made it hard to breathe. I don't know if that's some new shit going around or what.
I think, dude, that has to be, bro, because it's crazy. Like this cough that's been lingering for months for me, and like a lot of my students have it, and the only thing I can think of is that has to be some weird, you know, like what they call it, weaponized virus or something.
They spray shit in the air all the time. So not to get too crazy with it, but I mean that's common. I mean, you can look it up. It's not nothing out of this world. You know what I mean?
No.
Shit. All the chemicals spraying down on you all the time. I do think that has an effect, and the changes of the seasons, of course.
Right. Yeah. It's already the winter season's already kind of tough.
Yeah. He'll be all right. That's you got to look at it this way. Now that
So
he made it through it, he's got higher resistance. There you go.
No, yeah, exactly. That's why I look at these sicknesses. I'm gonna come back even stronger.
I was.
Doesn't kill you, makes you
Started
strong.
realizing, wow, how
Right.
did these people get my thoughts? And maybe they're not my thoughts. Yeah, maybe these aren't my special doings that I just randomly and uniquely did. No, you take me, soak it in alcoholism and addiction, and this is what I'm going to do. How I'm going to see things, and all of it is going to be contained in a special uniqueness, which is really usually in AA, the last person to know they're an addict is the addict. It's amazing. Yeah, it is. And not only that, they'll deny it as many times as it is exposed. It won't, and it's not them. The system is not going to give up the goods. Self can't get out of self. So there's a system that
Self can't get out of self. Now look within. I literally admitted that I was a panel verse addict. Last broadcast, right? The crash out, right? And and I know there was quite a few friends here and acquaintances there that heard what I was saying. Yet you're the only one that came and was like, "Oh, I feel you, bro. Like I need to, leave." It's so funny what he just said about an addict is usually the last person to realize it.
Right.
And
yeah. No,
because the system won't let it get rid of it.
It's because there's good people around here. You don't want to just bail, but they're all tied in with everybody. Like almost want the other, like I see the good hearts. You know what I'm saying? And even the people who are caught up in the drama too. I see they have good aspects as well. But man, it's just that thing. If you hang around losers all the time, you're gonna be a loser. And I'm fucking tired of being a loser, man. I'm done with it. This is
love
not
that.
the year of losing.
What you're saying,
man. This is not.
I love that because like people say you shouldn't say that, but I've noticed like when I try to prioritize money as a way of a good medium for getting like things, having a good for my healthy life and also for my family, especially for my family. I've noticed I started to see more loser aspects that I don't want to be around, that I want to shed for myself even, It's crazy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's people out here trying to do real stuff, but it's just at a certain point you got to cut it all off and just restart. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
That has somehow sucked up most of the interest and attention, and let's say our bandwidth has been shrunk very myopically. Yeah, so we could be picking up a lot of other stuff, but we're really locked into like a propaganda station called Paul. Yeah, but it's all a franchise of unclear channel. So you're hearing the same thing, but you call it a different station. Yeah, but it isn't. It's the same. So that started. Then when I saw the thoughts as not mine, the thoughts again, they were orbiting around me, and I couldn't. It was like an asteroid belt, but I couldn't see the asteroid. Yeah.
The SETH material said that thoughts make up our beliefs make our reality, and so he's giving us a picture of maybe what that might look like with the thoughts hovering around us like we're Saturn in the middle of the planet, and the asteroid belt is orbiting around us, which are the thoughts, not necessarily us or what we think is us.
Right.
So I had thoughts in this orbit of all about me, my thoughts, and it was suffocating you. Yeah. No one would be able to see it. You didn't see any hands on the thing, or someone put your head in a plastic bag, but it was like your head was in a plastic bag, if you want to use a body example. Yeah. You still could see through it, but it was cutting you off from a lot of stuff, seemingly. And so thoughts. And then I suddenly saw a giant swath of them as alcoholic thoughts. Wow. And that belt moved out. And when it's in such close proximity, you don't see it. When it moves out, you see it. You start seeing the asteroid If you have such a magnification, you can't see it. When the magnification is broken down, you lose interest in it because it's not yours. They're alcoholic thoughts. You see them. Wow.
But see the Palaverse for what it really is. Because it's hard to see before when you're like immersed in it. You know? It's hard to see it.
I think a lot of people were lonely too, you know, with the past few years and got isolated and kind of found similar type people in the area, which, I mean, if you did or didn't do certain things, then you would relate to these people. But then you find even at the same time, even around like-minded people, you have a lot of disagreements. You know, it doesn't matter if they did or didn't do something. It just all that matters is can you guys really move past everything?
We can't. Yeah, but the Seth Material was saying that we you know, our conscious reality is always judging things, but distractions get us in the way from seeing what truly is. And my thing is like what you said about the we do have some commonalities with these people because we wouldn't be with them, sitting with them and whatnot. However, there are some things at this point are not negotiable. That if we don't see this, or we're not on the same type of path. One of them is, like I said earlier, for me, is like kindness. You're not really a kind person. And then the other one is not getting after it. You know?
Right. Exactly.
And then I guess the last one would be not holding yourself accountable for what you're doing instead of projecting all the time.
Right.
You know?
Blaming it all on other people. That's not going to get you anywhere. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And so a large swath of what was playing mostly during the day, I noticed I could categorize it as no me, but there was a categorization that's alcoholic thoughts. And there was a withdrawing of interest and attention from it. And where's that interest and attention going to go? That's what you find out. That's the real joy of it. You don't know what it's going to bring back or how you're going to see things, but you're going to observe how you see things and what it brings back. Yeah, but you don't know it. Just like this rack I'm doing for the car. I had no idea of doing a rack. I didn't think about a rack. I just saw it. Oh, saw the rack. Then suddenly I was doing one way, and then mid stream, I can't do it that way. Turn it around. And it was so obvious. I'm on a need to know basis. You're just hanging around waiting and something informs you what to do. It moves you, really. So first I got the alcoholic thoughts, got some relief. Of course.
Is it working like that for you? Like once you started to quiet down and maybe because you were working like a madman doing the fiber optic in the fiber optic chamber, and then when you got a chance to step away for a second, you were kind of able to hone into what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and exactly. I mean, I'll be real with you. I got back into smoking and whatnot. I was sober for quite a while, and then I got back into smoking. And everybody at my job was high too. Like there was one person, one young guy who wasn't on anything. I mean, I was just smoking weed. Some of these dudes were on pills. Some of them drank every day. I started finding myself drinking as well. I'm sure they were on other stuff too, but and then as soon as I left my job, that was one of my main goals, was get sober again. I've been sober now for a month and a half or so. It really clears your mind.
Well done, dog.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Way to go, bro.
I had to do, bro. It's no way to be, and it opens your eyes to so much of what's going on in the world. I
never would have thought I'd be sober like I am now.
Man, being sober is that's the biggest trip, honestly. Like,
it
if
is.
you want to trip out, be sober. If you want to be complacent and be comfortable, be high. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I'm looking at it now.
I'll say this. I say long-term biggest trip is to be sober. Right. Long-term, but there is something about smoking DMT or even smoking a high level of cannabis in a session that'll get you out your mind too. However, it's not sustainable.
No, No,
it's not sustainable.
that's what
Yeah,
you want to hold on. Everybody wants to hold on to that feeling, and that's the
they
thing.
chase it, huh?
Yeah, it's that comfortable feeling. I mean, if you can control it, it's fine. But I'm not one of those people. I just gotta stay chill.
Me either. Yeah,
I got no
we're like
self-control.
extremes, huh?
Yeah, it's all or
Either
nothing.
one. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It was Hunter S. Thompson says, if anything's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So if you're gonna smoke and do drugs and drink, go all out. If you're gonna be sober, go all out. Yeah, what they call that California clean. I think that used to be the term, meaning like you don't do hardcore drugs or drink, but you just smoke weed.
Yeah,
That's still drugs, bro.
No,
It's still like
be straight edge and just smoke weed.
yeah, exactly. Come on, bro. You don't get to put that on your hand.
It led to another recognition, which is
Copium.
They're not mine.
Keep the Sneaks album,
Which was
Copium.
awesome. They're literally not my thoughts. Like all the ownership I get from that mistake and all the consequences I put up with because they're mine, a new door opened up. Hey, these are not my thoughts. And then it spread because truth can be like, if you put truth on a failed system, it's like molasses. It seeps into all the failure of the system and you get to notice it. Yeah. So my thoughts, wow. Then I was 10, what happened? The biggest thought is the idea of being a thinker. Wow. It's a thought that disguises itself.
Yeah, that's my litmus test. Not that I look to the person that's necessarily stupid or anything, but if you can't at least sit with that thought and not think, and then people have told me this over the last couple of months, you're crazy saying this type of shit. That like, who's to say you're the thinker, right? If you can't sit with that, that's one of my litmus tests, in a sense. I guess my judgment test. I'll still have compassion for you if you're cool. You're still kind, but it's like, come on, bro. You can't. You don't have to necessarily agree with it, but is that really that far fetched? Really?
To be able to sit with a single thought.
To sit with the thought, the literal thought of who's to say you are the thinker you think you are.
Right.
Yeah. That type of stuff. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'll say Izzy. Everyone's talking about Izzy, right?
Yeah. Who's that? Who's that?
The one that they said that with the Vegas with Resto and Mel and all them.
Oh
right?
Yeah. Dude, I'm so out of the loop. I was telling.
No,
Phil,
I know I am too. I
bring
it
it
up
who the
because
fuck knows who these people are, bro? Like,
yeah, unfortunately, I know. Yeah, but
yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
The
only reason I bring it up.
Where I was from, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck are you? Yeah. The only reason I bring it up is because she literally told me a couple months ago, and I was talking about such things in the Discord, like kind of like this is nonsense or you're crazy or something like that, which is her opinion. That's fine, but it's funny that she said that. And I think like last time I checked, she was like all these news stories about her getting like arrested and shit for like some shoplifting and stuff. Yet I'm the crazy one for whatchamacallit, thinking like who's the thinker, Yeah, I guess I'll be the crazy one.
People's egos. We gotta get.
I know that's what I'm telling. I'm telling you, bro. Yeah.
By saying it's having all the other thoughts, but there's no thing that rises above the thoughts into the role of thinker. It's just a thought. And it's always presupposed to be the beginning. So you would think
Muted again.
I said, let me get right and exact. I don't think the news articles and the news stories didn't say The multiple source didn't say she was arrested. It says she was cited. Cited. Whatever that means.
Okay.
Enough said.
Allegedly. We'll say allegedly.
Well, I'll say cited. That's what literally it said, though. I like that allegedly, yeah. What's up, El Perro? Good to see you. All right, let's get on. Let's get on with this.
Beginning would be thinker, and then everything that comes after that is thoughts. Yes, but the beginning is made up. It's a thought. There's only thoughts. There is no point where thoughts have a demarcation and then there's a my thought and you have a stream that's only yours. It's not that way. We see things that way, but that doesn't mean it's that way. Just like we were at dinner last night and the person was talking about, and this isn't personal. When I talk with people, I just see a principle mostly. So they were talking about the energetic body. Well, the only way you would talk about energy as an energetic body is from a body point of view, obviously. Yes? So we give things that are not of body a title of being a body, the energetic body. So is it 6 feet 2, going a little too thin? There's no body of energy. It's just energy. And in that energy, bodies appear by the way we look at things. Yeah. So first, I'm just trying to go off.
See, Jack should be talking to guys like this. Let's fuck it. I keep bringing it back to the Paddleverse. You know what I mean?
He's working on it, man. He's working.
Yeah.
I see the ones who get attacked the most out here, I think, are the realists.
That's true, huh?
Out there.
Okay.
And that's why, because nobody wants to see him move up, But
right,
the way he is, like I explained, he's a 6 man. They're very nurturing people. They want to take care of everybody. But he's figuring it out. Like
he's the best, dog. He's the MVP of the Paddleverse. Yeah.
He's a good man.
Yeah, he is. Definitely MVP.
On it because all the steps don't mean anything, but there were steps seemingly in time. So you don't go into the light, you come out of the dark. So you come out of the dark, you retreat from the dark, and you find yourself as the source of light. You don't believe there's a source of light out there at the end. You don't. So you just come out of the dark about these misunderstandings, literally. Yes? Misunderstandings, old ideas, all this stuff. And it just, you come out of the darkness in a way, and there you are as the light. So in this case, there were big, it's like an iceberg. A big chunk fell off, and then another big chunk fell off, and it returned back to its other form of water. Yeah? So my thoughts. And then, wow, thinker is really the one to check out. It's like Dracula going on vampire hunts, hiding its nature of being the head vampire. Yeah. So
first stage, seeing your thoughts, right? Seeing what you think are your thoughts. Second stage, contemplating, questioning who's thinking those thoughts, who or what is thinking those thoughts. Okay.
If there's a thinker, there seems to be a beginning of thoughts, obviously. Yeah. It would be like a bookmark. You put it in a random place and you think that's when the book starts. Yeah. But it's not. It's a manufactured bookmark. There's no thinker, and then there are the thoughts of that thinker. It doesn't go that way. I don't feel. So
what is it then?
That's going on. I'm sitting there, and then selfing.
There we go.
Because I was introduced to recovery at 28, and they use this term self. And then when you go to spirituality, Ramana uses a big S self, meaning everything, allness, yes? And if you look at anything and you take it back to the source, it goes back to the self, the big S self. You know? The small S self similar tries to play that same role, that you bring everything back to the source, which is the small S self, but that's in a mental mimicking of what may be really happening, because the mental actually mimics things. Yeah, they're off, you know what I mean? They're off. Like when you see a very good movie, creepy horror movie, there's like a discomfort that's in there, and it gets you ready for something really crazy to occur because it seems creepy. The head is sort of like that. So getting back to the presupposing of the non-existent thing. No, I'm going to go with the selfing. So I think we give it too much credit calling it self. I do. I don't believe there's any noun that's doing anything. So, but if something
Like it.
could convince you that there is a noun doing anything, wow. And I think that's what the head attempts to do all day through the selfing. So the selfing is a spool that just keeps looping and playing, but its assumption is you already are a self. It's not like you're going to become one, or you already are one. Yeah. And so you're left with, hey, if you feel discomfort, irritable, restless, discontent, the only reaction you're going to have from the system is to try to get out of it, which is the biggest in for the system. Yeah.
Right. But you were never in it, maybe.
The biggest in, if something wasn't there, the way you could get a sense of being there is you and I trying to get out of it. So it makes up a made up in, which is called self. And then a lot of us during our life, and with this movement of time constantly having us to have to do something else, or make a different sandwich, or make a better coffee, yes, on and on. This idea is, every ship is launched from this idea of self, that you are one already, and maybe you can become a better one, or a bigger one, or transcend it, whatever, or find the authentic one. You're going to be so bummed out if you ever find the authentic self. So there it is. So selfing is like a thing that plays over and over. It's almost like ambient music or something. You don't even know.
Oh, God.
Like one little complaint about one problem just moves into the another problem, and it's just playing all the time. And the assumption is, oh, don't worry, you already are this, so just try to make it better or forget it. That's why you'll watch Die Hard 12, because you fucking can't handle just on and on. Makes you.
This is it. Pisces month. Escapism into fantasy, which has its place.
You'll buy the same shit. I can give stuff to the thrift store and then forget and then rebuy it. Yeah. But I usually catch myself, but I have been known to do that. I say, this looks pretty good. The guy or the woman who had this had a good taste. Well, yeah, I dropped it off a couple of weeks before. But that one who dropped it off and the one who bought it is the same. See, this is the dilemma. Yeah. So the selfing is just going off under the assumption that you already are something. Yeah. Because if it had to build it, you'd see it, obviously. It's impossible. That cannot be a self. Yeah. But it can work the state that there already is one. Yeah. That's the trick in time. It can't make self, but it can imply there already is one. And that's what the head does, the selfing. And I would say that's the original addiction, or the original movement of addiction, that causes the movements to get relief from itself, and those are the other addictions. Yeah, but the original, not original, but in time, let's say the beginning of this drive, like in Buddhism, they talk about. You ever heard of the Four Noble Truths? Yeah, and they talk about. There's dukkha or malaise, dissatisfaction, when you're already built as a self. There's going to be a dissatisfaction with the situation, yeah, and it's like it permeates, but you mistake it and you get different answers. That doesn't work, right? So he says, all right, that's the sort of the part of the dis-ease or dissatisfaction is this idea of you. And then and it says, well, desire.
Part of the disease, this idea of you. And then you're going to go into desire.
Yes, desire is the root of the suffering. But if you shrunk down everything in a dualistic way, you will see the first desire is to become and unbecome. Yeah. So
in astrology, evolutionary astrology, they call that the urge of the soul wanting to return back to source energy, and also the duality of that wanting to leave and explore outside of source energy. That's the two modes of being.
The head wants to become and unbecome. So it already says it's something, and then it wants to become something else. Yeah. Or a better one, and this and that. So there's a desire to become and a desire to unbecome. So it believes it's something that it isn't. It wants to not be that. And it believes it's something that it is, and it doesn't want to be that. So there's this, and it's like a slinky, and the one desire pulls the next one. Yes? So this is like duality in a sense. So the duality is of this desire to become and unbecome is the engine of the unease. Yeah. And then they would present the nine, whatever, what to do with it all, like Buddha. He had a couple more steps, but the two things are the diagnosis. You can't put a finger on it, but there's a malaise or a weird sense of whatever. Everyone, and then he says the cause of that is desire. So I would say the head that's in is its form, its nature is agitation because it's desiring to become and unbecome. Yeah. So it's agitated in and of itself. And then a lot of everything that happens here is a way of denying that or whatever. Yeah. So it says it would really like to find peace, but if it ever gets brought to peace, it starts worrying, will there be peace tomorrow? So its agitation will override whatever it thinks it arrives at. Yes? That's why it doesn't really want to arrive anywhere. That's why signing up for a spiritual goal that could take lifetimes, it's totally into that. I mean, self will sign up to becoming something for years.
Yeah.
To be something, no. There's no way. Being, no fucking way. But becoming, I'm all for it. Because in the become.
Yeah, like when the reporter was talking to Venus Williams, about like you're gonna be the greatest, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna be the greatest, and he's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. What if you're not the greatest? And she's like, no, I already am. And his whole dynamic of saying, what if that doubt is kind of like that urge of the self to always want to become. Yeah.
It will be more about you than about, yes. That's why a spiritual path, what takes a path? Spirit doesn't. Bodies do. Do you ever see a spirit going down Highway 101? No.
Yeah.
I mean,
101 to LA.
You're going to reach the mountaintop. Who reaches a mountaintop? Who can't? Who's somewhere else other than at the mountaintop? A body. Yeah, the spirit permeates everything. It's not reaching anywhere or going anywhere. It just is. So the whole idea that how we term spirituality is of a body, if you look at it. Yeah. So, all right. Now the next big thing was this. When I went to see Ramesh Balsekar in India, I read a book by him called Who Cares? And it motivated me. And his age, 85 years old, motivated me. I just decided I was going to go to India. I had other places to go, but I went to Bombay to check him out. And he would emphasize the personal doer. He thought that was the gateway, the gateless gate, just to see that you're not the personal doer of anything. Yes? Or everything's just going as they go. All right. People when coming out of addiction, they have a dilemma with this, because when they come out of addiction, they don't come out of the belief that they did all that shit while under the influence. Yeah. that because there's no separation between what they are and the head sees everything as I was the doer of it, no matter what. So now you come into recovery and you have this burden that you've been really trying to avoid by getting loaded, of the guilt and shame of all the shit you did. Yeah. And you've been convicted in your own court, and you're just looking for, and you believe you should have a harsh sentence. Really. You do. You've done things that are just unforgivable to you. This great relief came to me when I saw this idea of self on this page I was reading in this book, the book of the program called The Big Book.
Mm-hmm.
There's a page there in a chapter called How It Works, which is quite apt. Yeah.
How reality works.
How it works. And there was a statement that says being convinced, which is a requirement that's in recovery, especially in the beginning. You got to be convinced of certain things, like you're not managerial quality and, you're fucked, basically. When you're convinced of that, you'll maybe open to do some things that are going to bring about new effects. Yeah. All right. So I'm at this page, being convinced, self. Wow. Here's that word again, being convinced. So being convinced, one of the definitions is to believe with certainty. Yes. So being convinced, self, manifested in various ways, is what has defeated us. Wow, what an incredible statement. Yeah. Separates, it tells us what has defeated us. People think it was their wife or their origin, family of origin, or their upbringing, or the drugs itself, or the alcohol. But really, what has defeated us is this idea of self. Yeah. And its manifestations and how it manifested in various ways. And those ways were the defeat of us. And us is stated in the same sentence. So the defeater is self, us is the defeated. Yes? I saw, this was mind-boggling to me. I was about 6 years into sobriety. I saw this, I had read the sentence tons of times, but this time I read the sentence, I saw self as foreign to me. This was unbelievable. This, not me, never was me, never will be me. I saw.
Well, that's a big paradigm shift. See self as not as you, because everything we do is in the self. Whether you seem like you don't know, or it's wild.
That the monkey on the back wasn't a family member. The monkey was in its own species, and I was not of that species. Yes. So the monkey could be taken off my back. It wasn't like a part of my back. Yes. So you saw self as not me. Wow.
Where do you go from there?
Recognized there is no self, there's selfing. Yeah. And I recognized the shit I was driven to do when I was getting loaded disqualifies me as the driver. I was that which was driven. Yeah. I was not the driver. And then I got some freedom from my past. Yeah.
It's bad.
And I remember the first demonstration I was getting it was early on, because they presented addiction as a disease.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Which will ease, take some of the personalness out of it. And the personalness is what's killing people after they stop drinking. The sense of personalness really is. So
it's pretty heavy, I bet.
I heard that, and I said, I hope it's right. And then I was hanging out with some friends. We had been riding motorcycles. My friend had a girlfriend he'd been with, and I was with a girl I was trying to impress. So we stopped riding. We went to my friend's apartment. We went upstairs, and we passed a neighbor of his that had an Asian woman that had all paint over her pants and everything. Then we went into the room, and we're hanging out, having tea or something. And then my friend David had to go back to the downstairs to get something from the bike. Came in and said, my neighbor would like to talk to you. And I was a house painter. I'd become a house painter when I got sober. So I thought she wanted to get me advice, to what she was doing. So she walks into the room. There I am with the person I'm trying to impress. And the lady looks at me and goes, "Hey, Paul, Do you remember me? I go, no. She says, you owe me $500. So my pants sort of fell down, and you would think I would have felt a lot of shit, but I didn't. And what came over the screen was, what I did to you, I would have done to anybody. And it was one of my first, I was relieved of the bondage of being the doer. Yes, because I knew I had been driven to do what I did to her, and I would have done it to anyone else unless you could have physically stopped me if you were in the situation. It's just the way it was. Yeah. And wow, what a breakthrough in a sense, the crack. And then, so that opened a dam, and I saw in this big book that they used the word driven.
Hope so.
Self-imposed calamities, which means you're not imposing it on you, but something foreign to you is imposing it on you. And I felt, wow, this is a revolutionary way of looking at it. I should start putting it out there. That didn't go as well as I thought, but it went very well for me in a sense, because I saw this sense of all of our interpretations is permeated with you as the doer.
Yes, sir.
Permeated. And one of the ways the system, if something is unbearable about being a doer, it will just deny it or fucking forget it or avoid it and conveniently.
Avoid it, lie to yourself.
Yeah. And it gets, and you and I, as this event, will truly adapt being in a room with an elephant. We will just fucking. Yeah. So like at one point when I was out there, if my right arm was bleeding, I would just look left. I wouldn't fucking deal with it. Just I had this thing happen, gave it absolutely no care. Nothing. Just insane. And that way, obviously, may think it has good results in a finite level, which could be questioned, but definitely it runs out. Yeah. It doesn't work. Yeah. So I saw that this idea that I was driven and not the driver. And then I'm noticing everyone's going into meetings. It should be in a parking lot, really. And they're talking as if they were the driver, but they were the driven. Yeah. Something had occupied them and used them as a car would be used to express itself. And we keep having meetings of cars talking about themselves as the driver, like the stupid idea of self-driving cars. And they always have to put the little footnote, you may need supervision. There's no self-fucking driving car. So yeah, there was a driver, you were the car that was driven. Something took you over, just like spirit takes you over. So in AA, they make it a clear demarcation. You had an old employer or a lower power, and now you've been introduced to a higher power or a new employer. And now, because the obviousness in their eyes of you're the driven. You've never been the driver. You're never going to be the driver. You're the driven. Something drives you. Yeah. And in this, there's so many different notes.
Certainly feels like that. Something's driving us.
But in a dualistic way, especially in addiction, you can see it's either this or that. Yeah. So one lower employer, one higher employer, not 80. You don't have a giant record. It's just one thing was moving you, and now another thing is moving you. Yes. But you're always being moved. Yeah. So
you ever just blank out when you're driving and then end up where you're going? That's the trippiest shit.
Then that led
to
Course of Miracles.
Going autopilot while you're driving.
Yeah.
I noticed I only do it when I'm by myself. Before you know it,
you're home.
Yeah. When I'm by myself, I'll do it. When I'm with the kids, I'm always on. It's almost like a subconscious thing.
Yeah. I've been doing it almost not to a fault at night, like when I'm get home from work and I eat dinner and I'm already tired, because it's been a long day, and I still try to edit or do research for a broadcast, for example, or I'm talking to somebody. And I'm autopilot. But that's because I'm on the verge of sleep. But the type of what you're talking about is because you're so used to being in that zone of repetitive, that loop, huh?
Yeah, that same road that you're taking.
The same road, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people like to use the word looping, right? On the space. It's a lot of things that are happening.
I don't even realize they're on autopilot. It's just another day.
Exactly. But when you look at it, that's like, oh man, that's a loop. That's crazy. But now on top of that, it's a really bad loop.
Before you know it, 10 years have gone by and you haven't gotten anywhere or figured anything out. You just lost some more hair from being stressed out.
Exactly. It's like this one, the last segment, Larry Bird, because I've been getting away from the Panelverse and being nostalgic and revisiting my love of sports. You know, how I feel alive when I play sports or watch them or whatever. But I've been looking at these people's stories, and the Larry Bird story really caught my eye. Like, I didn't know that there was a time where he was a garbage man, and he almost stopped playing. He stopped playing basketball. You know, so this is a little bit of that.
Oh, that was during his career?
Oh, right before in between colleges.
State University. Okay. The young coach knew how good Bird was, and the two of them formed a relationship through Hodges' attempt to get Larry to play ball again. However, Larry was reluctant.
Just like the rest of my family has, and that's the way we dealt with it.
Joe Bird was divorced from Larry's mother at that point, with his PTSD and alcoholism as the main reason for their separation. Alimony payments and debts to creditors were mounting, and it was getting harder for Joe to find work. So, he came to the conclusion that his family would be better served through life insurance money. Joe then called his ex-wife and told her she didn't need to worry about the debts anymore, and then he hung up and took his life. Growing up, Larry was best friends with his father. The two...
Oh, that's heavy, you hear that? Damn, he killed his father, killed himself for the money for his family. Heavy. Which is like it's... how as sad and tragic and sick as it is, it's kind of admirable that he would do that. However, he probably would have been of more use. You know, he would, I won't say more or less, but he would have been definitely use of him being alive, poor for the moment, right? Than not being here. I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, definitely. Just having your father around is worth a lot more. You know, having your parents around is worth a lot more than any amount.
Yeah.
Because in the long run, they'll give you the motivation to better yourself, you know, as long as they serve the right example.
And in the end,
that kind of shit long term, that'll scar you. That could make you kill yourself in the future.
Right. It'll scar you, but in the process of scarring Larry Legend, it probably drove him too for greatness too, in a weird way. You know?
Right.
Because he said that his dad would always struggle, and one time when he was playing in high school, he like twisted his ankle really bad, and his brother was like holding him, like helping him walk, and the dad's like, "Don't do that. You need to walk it off. Be strong." And then they're like, "Okay." And then he saw his dad came to work one day, and he like fucked up his ankle, like tore some shit in it, and then him and his brother had to help get his boot off. That's how bad it was. And yet the next morning he woke up and went to work with his shit all fucked up. And he said, ever since I saw that, I never complained and just worked hard and shit. So at this point, Larry and his dad are like good friends, even though his parents are divorced.
Spent a lot of time together, and his death affected Larry deeply. Although he felt betrayed by his father's act, Larry once again respected his father's sacrifice for his loved ones. And that's the same attitude he always brought to the basketball court. During that period when he worked as a garbage man, Larry got married to a girl he'd known for years. But that marriage turned out to be a catastrophe. And just when they got divorced, he found out that his now ex-wife was pregnant, and she prohibited Larry from having anything to do with the baby. So, between 1975 and...
It's messed up, huh? Unless he did something like horrible, I guess. You have to do something really horrible to warrant that, huh?
It could be that, or it could be the trauma from the woman as well. You know what I mean? It goes both ways. It could just be...
You mean her trauma?
Yeah, it could be something that she thought he was going to do because that's how her father was. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be a lot of... women carry that on a lot. They think that every man's going to be their father. You know what I mean? Really, that's not the way it is a lot of the time.
Good and bad, like it, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, because I think in some ways I would think if
Same
my
with men.
wife's
Same with men. I should.
and their mom,
preface that,
yeah,
sorry.
and their mom. Oh yeah, for sure. But like if my wife was like, you know, saw characteristics of her father and me, that's a good thing because for all I know and heard from his you know family and students and stuff, he was a pretty good guy, a really exceptional dude. So, but it could be the opposite too, huh? Like
Yeah,
his baby mama, the way it seems like maybe if that was the case, it was the opposite. She was afraid that he'd be like her father in a bad way, maybe.
1976, a still teenage Larry Bird quit 2 colleges, lost his dad, and suffered through a messy divorce. Who knows how his life would have turned out if he hadn't been recruited by Bill Hodges, then the assistant coach at Indiana State University. The young coach knew how good Bird was, and the two of them formed a relationship through Hodges' attempt to get Larry to play ball again. However, Larry was reluctant due to his failure at Indiana University, his job as a garbage man, and his complicated family situation.
Well, I didn't get to that. Let me get to that part real quick. Then I'll go back to that about his garbage man day.
And debts to creditors were mounting, and it was getting...
All right, bro. Yeah, have a good night.
Yeah, you too, bro. Hey, feel free anytime if you want to hit me up, talk personally. Just hit me up on Discord, bro. I'd give you. I mean,
absolutely.
I give you my phone number, but it's international. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You got my contact, man. Much love, bro.
All right, I'll take advantage of that. Thank you so much.
Good talking to you. All right, thank you.
Much love, bro. Peace.
Much love, brother. Peace.
All right, brother. The great look within. True friend, brother.
Suicide, and Larry was devastated.
He chose the way he wanted to die, and he did it, and it just
sprouted 4 inches, and all without a 3.
Okay. Reg, I just couldn't do it.
So, Larry returned home to French Lick, where he enrolled at a local community college. But he soon gave up on that, too. And then, he became a garbage man in French Lick and was happier than ever. I loved that job. It was outdoors, you were around your friends, picking up brush, cleaning up. I felt like I was really accomplishing something. How many times are you riding around your town and you say to yourself, why don't they fix that? Why don't they clean the streets up? And here, I had the chance to do that. I had the chance to make my community look better. And
that's a good thing.
Even though he lived a peaceful life, tossing garbage bags and fixing benches in the park, Larry's family life soon turned into a disaster. In 1975, when Bird was only 18 years old, his father committed suicide, and Larry was devastated.
He chose the way he wanted to die, and he did it, and it's just unfortunately that some people have problems like that, but you know, I wish he was here, but he's not. So I had to go on with my life and try to make the most of my life, just like the rest of my family has, and that's the way we dealt with it.
Joe Bird was divorced from Larry's mother at that point, with his PTSD and alcoholism as the main reason for their separation. Alimony payments and debts to creditors were mounting, and it was getting harder for Joe to find work. So, he came to the conclusion that his family would be better served through life insurance money. Joe then called his ex-wife and told her she didn't need to worry about the debts anymore, and then he hung up and took his life. Growing up, Larry was best friends with his father. The two spent a lot of time together, and his death affected Larry deeply. Although he felt betrayed by his father's act, Larry once again respected his father's sacrifice for his loved ones, and that's the same attitude he always brought to the basketball court. During that period when he worked as a garbage man, Larry
sacrifice, surrender.
Got married to a girl he'd known for years, but that marriage turned out to be a catastrophe. And just when they got divorced, he found out. But during that period, loved ones, and that his father's act, Larry once again respected his father's sacrifice for his loved ones, and that's the same attitude he always brought to the basketball court.
Sacrifice for your loved ones.
During that period when he worked as a garbage man, Larry got married to a girl he'd known for years, but
don't be so caught up in your story.
That marriage turned out to be a catastrophe. And just when they got divorced, he found out that his now ex-wife was pregnant, and she prohibited Larry from having anything to do with the baby. So, between 1975 and 1976, a still teenage Larry Bird quit 2 colleges, lost his dad, and suffered through a messy divorce. Who knows how his life would have turned out if he hadn't been recruited by Bill Hodges, then the assistant coach at Indiana State University. The young coach knew how good Bird was, and the two of them formed a relationship through Hodges' attempt to get Larry to play ball again. However, Larry was reluctant due to his failure at Indiana University, his job as a garbage man, and his complicated family situation. But Hodges was relentless, and one day he went to see Bird at his mother's house. Larry kept talking about a buddy of his who could really play ball, but nobody knew about him because he never went to college. To which Hodges replied, "Yeah, Larry, they're going to say that about you someday." After that mic drop, Hodges got up and left without even saying goodbye. And 2 days later, he got a call from Larry, who decided to join Indiana State, which would change his life forever.
If Bill Hodges hadn't been as persistent as he had been, Larry Bird might never have existed in any of our minds. I believe that with all my heart.
In his first season for the
Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, you have greatness in you guys, in you all. Just a matter of accepting that and moving accordingly, and not settling for less and mediocrity. You know, seriously. If Larry Bird never would have played and wouldn't have accepted his greatness, we wouldn't have got stories like this. Let me see. This is a good one right here. Oh.
91-92 season, and we was playing the Boston Celtics.
So Larry used to always call me Cheesy, right? He's like, "Cheesy, who guard me?"
There we go. This is a great one. Where are you, Larry? There we go.
And I was like, yeah. So Larry used to always call me Cheesy, right? He's like, "Cheesy, who guard me?" And I was like, I got Kelly, I got Lem, I got Benson, 3 white dudes. He's
You're
like,
slow, man.
"You ain't got no brothers?" He's like, "Hey man, you can't put no white dude on me.
Hey, bro.
That is straight disrespect."
This is funny.
Is on where Bird ranks on your top of the trash talk and the bad boy Pistons. Let's get started.
I don't know I don't know how this is going to play with America, right? but let me just tell you what this dude told me one time, right? Now, all back line at one time it was Kelly Tripucka, Bill Laimbeer, Kim Benson. 3 white dudes.
2 of them I ain't ever heard of.
Okay. All right. So we walk out on the court and he said, "Who guarding me?" And I said, "Well, hey, we both from Indiana. We talking stuff." Me and his mom had a close relationship in college. His mom would write me like notes, was even writing me notes like when I was in the pros, like,
Yeah, Isaiah is from Chicago. However, he went to school at the University of Indiana under Coach Knight, and Larry went to University of Indiana for maybe half the semester.
Good luck, everything else, right? So Larry used to always call me Cheesy, right? He's like, "Cheesy, who guard me?" And I was like, I got Kelly, I got Lem, I got Benson. He's like, "You ain't got no brothers?" He's like you. He's like you.
Disrespecting me.
That's what he said. That's exactly what he said.
You ain't got no brothers?
He said, "Hey man, you can't put no white dude on me. That is straight disrespect."
Oh my God. You can't let a white dude say that. You can't put any white dudes on me. Come on, Isaiah.
Right? He said, "Don't put no white dude on me." So check this out. So the next year we come back, I said, "I got somebody for your ass," right?
Yeah.
He said, "Who you got?" I said, "Rodman."
Oh shit, Rod. Dennis Rodman.
He said, "Okay, he's a little better." He said, "But don't ever put no white dude on me because that is disrespectful." I was like, "Okay." Now, I don't know how America gonna feel about that.
They'll be all right.
In case you're wondering how badly Bird cooked the Pistons, in his career, he played Detroit 53 times and averaged 25 points and 10 rebounds per game. So it didn't make a difference who was guarding him. He tore them to shreds just about every time they were on the court.
But shit, man. He said, "Don't put no white dude on me." Zeke. Shit. Don't put no I don't know, white or black. I get it. Just don't come with that weak stuff around here. So this has been who or what creates your reality? Saturn Cube, Matrix, Seth Speaks, and the great Larry Legend, Larry Bird. And man, shout out to all the people that came up: Joe Cool, Ragamuffin Visions, OTW, everyone in the chat, Patrick, my friend, my good friend, my brother, Look Within. Shout out Buddha in the house, bitch, and everyone in the chat, man. Much love. Don't put no white dude on me. Peace.